I'm just opening up my Destiny stuff on.
Oh, no, you've Destiny stuff. You took notes. I thought this was a no-note show. Come on now.
This is a no-note show.
We're not supposed to be prepared for this.
This is why we bring on guests, because they have all the opinions and all the talking they can do.
So I'm a little disappointed we won't get to have Deacon back to hear about the 4th straight victory for Salta Greppo and company under her strict tutelage. So did she slip this time? Is that the problem? Is that why they didn't win? Her coaching wasn't quite up to par?
You know what? I wondered why she'd gone out very quickly this morning. I think she's genuinely upset. She's gone shopping. And
she's dodging the media requests. I'm sure she's got media outlets all over calling her.
Yeah. She doesn't go out shopping this early on a Saturday. It's very weird. I didn't even get a message. I got like a half a garbled message from a child saying Mum's gone out. I was like, oh, this is strange.
Yeah, it's like the game telephone. She told the oldest child, which eventually got down to the youngest child, and by the time it got to you, they didn't even know what the message was anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he got the important words "mum" and "out," and really, that's all you need to know. As long as those 2 words make it through.
No, that's not important. What you don't realize, she said, "Look, I'm going out. By the time I come home, I need the laundry done. I need food cooked. I need you to go ahead." Yeah, all the other really important stuff that she's expecting to be done is not going to be done.
No, but you know what is going to get done now that she's out? A podcast all about Destiny. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to roll those titles so we can get into it.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Nitedemon, the pink-panted pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Asia, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
Well, the titles have rolled, and now we're here.
They have.
And you're here, and I'm here. And even that guy over there, he's here too.
We're all here. We've even got a guest this week. A guest that I was talking to this week said, I've got information, I've got opinions, I need an outlet to kind of give you all of this. Do you want me to tell you now? And I said, no, you come on the show and you tell me now. So welcome to the show, Blue Screen. And again, I'm joined by Peroty and Respawn. Respawn is traveling at the moment. He's on his way home. So he is listening. He will probably jump in every now and then and give an opinion or throw out a duck or a dolphin. But as soon as he gets home, he'll be streaming live. Probably both, yeah. So welcome, Blue Screen. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you for having me. And hello, everybody. It is great to be here. I'm a big fan of the podcast.
It's been a little over a minute. I think July 13th, 2020, episode 77, featuring Dredge and Blue Screen was when you were here last. I think at that point, Respawn was down in the desert, or down in the deserts, down in the swamps of New Orleans, and
I recall there's one too many raccoon sound effects for me to be invited back at that point.
Yeah, I remember. Now I've got, I'm traumatized again. I've now
remembered. Oh my god, I forgot that was you!
And now remember why you didn't come back on the show so sooner.
So enjoy Blue Screen. You'll see him again in another 2 years if he's lucky.
3 years.
Once Nitedemon has forgotten again the trauma.
So Blue Screen is a friend of ours, a clan member, and, all-round general nice guy. Always there, ready to help anybody out. And as soon as I jump on, he's there sending me messages saying, I need you, I want to help. What can I do? And I go, let's go and play Gambit. And he goes, I'm out. That's it.
I got my dredging this season already. So.
Oh, this season? Wow.
Yeah. It's where the light is. We need our light. Our light is important.
So for the listeners, Blue, what do you main so that we're not kind of being biased of bringing on Titans all the time?
Well, my first character ever was a Titan, and I ran it almost exclusively for a couple of years, and then I started rotating 3 characters because it was efficient and fun and challenging. And right now, I'm really digging the Warlock. The Warlock with Strand and that glaive are dominating my playtime right now.
It's what you were doing this week in like the campaign helping me out, because if you guys didn't know, I broke my wrist a couple of weeks ago, finally gone to the hospital, sorted it out. It's now in a cast, so I'm having difficulty playing. I can still sort of play, and Blue Screen was there this week to give me a hand, literally, and helped me out finishing the legendary campaign so I can get to 1780. And then we went off and done other stuff, but he helped me out with the exotic glaive quest that's come out this week, which I will link in the show notes, a guide if you have not done it yet. But yeah, we've done a few things this week and really enjoyed myself playing. I'm so far behind. I feel like I need to go and do my warlock. I need to do my hunter, and I'm just so glad that Bungie have postponed Iron Banner for 1 week, because I'm thinking next week I can focus on getting those two characters through the story, get my Strand unlocked, then go into Iron Banner and utilize the Strand in that, because I'm looking forward to that. There's so many builds out there. I've been watching so many videos, and I've picked quite a few this week just to kind of go over for you for the end of the show anyway. But yes, there's some fantastic stuff.
I saw that news and I thought about you immediately. I was like, oh, he'll have another week. I'll be thrilled.
As long as there's still 3 Iron Banners this season, he'll be happy.
There are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have. So we're still getting 3. They're just rearranging the weeks of when they are.
Well, the funny
people
thing
be
is,
invisible in trials instead.
the funny thing is, next week the schools again, the teachers are on strike for 2 days. So for 2 days, potentially, I won't have access to my Xbox, and it's a Wednesday and a Thursday, the days I normally kind of play. And I'm like, oh my God's sake, So I'm lucky, Thank the stars that Bungie have decided to postpone it by another week, because that will give me time to sneak on and get my other characters done, and then be ready for Iron Banner the following week.
There we go. Working out in your favor.
It is.
So now that you've gotten through the campaign, since we're, I guess we might as well say, if you haven't gotten through the campaign yet, abandon all hope, all ye who enter. There may be spoilers ahoy.
Yeah, I mean, it's now been 2 weeks, so if you haven't finished,
if you haven't finished, you shouldn't be listening to us or anything else at this point.
Well, no, I mean, I was listening to Last Word podcast last night, and I listened to DCP as well, and they'd recorded their shows before the raid had dropped, yet they went ahead and told me who the raid boss was, because it had been, it was in the triumphs and the seals. So they were like, oh, it's already in the game, so fair game. And like, well, I didn't officially know that. Through playing the campaign, I kind of guessed that there might be this, but I was like, and I'm not going to spoil it now. I don't think we should spoil the raid, because the raid's only just come out a couple of days ago. So if you want to kind of go into that spoiler free, we won't tell you who the boss is. So there you go. But you might guess it from playing the campaign.
It's the chicken guy from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
It is indeed. And there are just cheese and meatballs falling from the sky.
Indeed, there is.
Cheese Forever is actually
Lots
the
and
final
lots of
boss.
meatballs.
You have to walk into the room with him and defeat him, but he has all the cheeses, so there's no hope for you.
Yeah. So yeah, spoilers for the campaign at least, and our kind of genuine thoughts about the campaign. I mean, we got Respawns last week, just as a kind of brief overview of that. He wasn't a fan, and I'll pass the mic over to you, Blue. Give us your take on the campaign and the story, because we haven't heard from you yet.
Well, thanks. The story, I agree with everything you were all saying on the last pod. I don't know what the Veil is. I may have some idea where everybody went. I think they're hiding in the computer. So I don't really know. I actually had a chance to do a lot of the story the first time with Peroty, and we watched all the cutscenes and really I don't understand exactly what's happening. That being said, I really like Strand. I like the mechanics. I like the way that they're giving us a lot of power quickly. They sorted out my armor drops, so my light's rising appropriately, I think. And I'm having a really good time. Very much enjoying the season.
Now, as I said, I was listening to a couple of other podcasts, and they were kind of saying that how disappointed they were with the story and the way that Callus was treated, and just that each encounter seemed to be like a round room. You'd run round and you'd kind of defeat a boss, and then you'd be out of there. It wasn't kind of as grandeur as the Witch Queen was. And I mean, they did attribute it to what we were saying a couple of weeks back, that it was mainly to do with this was the filler year. This was the year that they kind of put in place to kind of stretch out the story to then get to the final shape. And it could have been that, and they could just completely be focused on that. But with Strand, they completely knocked it out the park. They absolutely love Strand. And I kind of agreed with them to a point, because I mean, I could see where they were coming from with all their opinions of, this wasn't the best like DLC for the game, and I think it was rated on IGN as a 5, but then like Astacross gave it a 7, and a couple of other people or outlets have said, it's average. It's a good kind of expansion, and I kind of agree with that. It is an average expansion. It is not in the same kind of caliber as the Witch Queen. And I remember when we were talking about fighting Callus in the end, like room, and it was like he was a lot easier than the Witch Queen. The final boss, she was an absolute nightmare trying to kill her and burn her down. Whereas Callus, I seem to find, it was mainly user error in the end. We'd be kind of stranding all over the place, or I was kind of stranding all over the place, and you were kind of having a cardiac arrest in the corner. But I kept falling off the walkways and things like that. But I found to DPS that boss was a lot easier than it was for the Witch Queen, and I kind of agree with that. But at some point, we are going to have to kind of start kind of cutting these kind of grand characters out of the game to get to the end. And I don't know where else you can kind of keep putting these characters. We need a big boss at the end of a campaign. We need a big boss at the end of a raid. We need a big boss at the end of a dungeon. And people seem to get upset at the way that these bosses or these big characters are kind of taken out. But then they're also upset when a character that we've kind of not heard of is then put in as the boss of said raid, dungeon, or campaign. It's like, why have they been put in? It's kind of, they've been forced into that position just to fill that role. So I don't get, that if we've done Callus dirty, I think his story kind of came to an end, and I could see where that was coming from, because it looked like from that end cutscene that he was being used by the witness to get us to that location so that the ghost could do its thing. There was, that's all that the witness wanted from Callus. He didn't care anything about Callus. He wanted Callus to draw us out and get us to that location to do that thing in the end with the veil, and then kind of continue the story. And I think that's where it was kind of coming from. Yes, we don't know what the veil is. We don't know. There's lots of other questions and things. I mean, how do you feel, guys?
Well, I think he leveraged Callus. Callus is a greedy. He's opulent and wants gold and wants more gold, and he even brags about how he took what he wants. And so this other fellow who's smarter and better organized used him. I think that's totally appropriate. I don't think he was diminished. I think he was exposed. I think that's who Callus always was for me.
Peroty?
I think it's interesting that sort of the witness is here and has been looming, and now the witness is pieced out. It's like, all right, you're here, you're gone. So are we just have to wait till next season to figure out what's going on with Witness? Has Megamind left us? Is this a guest cameo that you had a 3-episode arc and then now you're out?
Well, I think that's kind of they've been teasing the big bad, haven't they, since we've had Lightfall? No, since we've had Beyond Light. So, it was Beyond Light, wasn't it? Or even Shadowkeep, because we saw the witness. He was that kind of reflection of us in the Garden of Salvation at the end. Is that right?
Yes.
When we finished the campaign, it was kind of a mirror image, and he was talking to us as as an avatar of ourselves. So,
which, by the way, one of the best ways to introduce a bad guy. Just saying.
yeah, I mean, they had to introduce him, and they've had to kind of give him a story. But I think we were all confused. I think the fact that they built him up to be this character that is going to just come in and annihilate us. But that's not what he's wanted. He's wanted something completely different. And because we haven't seen his motives for that, it's confusing of where he's gone and what he's done with the Traveler.
The Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah.
They'll have all the answers for us.
Well, it goes
What
back to
office?
what I was saying last week about how we think in terms of good and evil, and that's not the case. He's not here to do evil. He's here to provide a role, right? He is the opposite of whatever the Traveler is. If we think the Traveler is evil, then he might be a force of good. The Traveler represents light. He represents dark. The Traveler is things of the physical plane. He's things of paracausal existence, right? He's here to fill a role, and that role is to be the opposite of whatever the Traveler is. He's never had an issue with us.
Okay.
His issue was, is, and probably will always be with the Traveler. But yeah, he's just there to be a force of opposition of the Traveler, and by opposition I mean of opposite, not necessarily of in defiance of. You know what I mean? And we don't even know if he's gone. That's the thing that really threw me off. Is he gone? Yes, he did a thing to the Traveler, and it appears as though he's turned the Traveler into some kind of a portal or a black hole or some kind of transportation entity, right? But is he within the Traveler? Did he use the Traveler to zip across the galaxy? Who knows? We don't even know if he's gone. He might still be right there, right? Yeah. We don't know where he's at, you know? And that's why I thought, like in the beginning of the raid, I saw the Traveler and I saw ships flying in. I thought we were going to go in to the Traveler. We did not. And I'm standing on the ground. I'm like, yeah, but the garden is in space. If you're paying attention, we're not on a planet. We're in space. Those gardens are like going between like the ships and space debris and all that other stuff. We're in space, in a garden, in space.
Gardens. Yeah, space magic, space gardens.
You know?
It all checks
We
out.
weren't anywhere in particular, which was really weird. You know, I was like, what is going on? It was beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Like visually, Bungie can make a skybox. Let me tell you, Bungie can make a skybox. But like, it didn't answer any questions, man. And as far as the boss goes, I'm not going to spoil it. You said we didn't know about the boss. We've known about the boss for years. We've known about him in name. We've got items that directly relate to this individual in lore. I mean, there's a lot we know about this individual.
Right.
We didn't know it was going to be the Ray boss.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this was a known character in the universe. We didn't know this was going to be the boss of this raid, but yeah, I mean, we've known about this person for a while.
Yeah. And I'm still trying to piece things together because I picked up a bunch of lore in the thing. I'm still trying to piece things together of why he's there. But like to know that, you know, he wasn't what I thought he was gonna be, and the person that really made him angry isn't even us, right? It's an individual that took out a previous person that we know, right? So I mean, it's just the whole thing is really complicated, and Bungie, I don't know if they were trying to leave us on a cliffhanger, if they were trying to confuse us, or even if they don't know what's going on. Because in their interview, they said, okay, we have this cool new darkness ability called Strand. How can we make it fit into the story? Right? So they made Strand as a primary thing, and then it feels like the story is an afterthought of how to get Strand in there. Right? And the raid being an extension of that. Right? Yeah. And don't get me wrong, the mechanics in the raid are fun, I think. I think the raid itself is fun. I don't think some of the bosses in it make a whole lot of sense, right? But that's just probably because I don't have enough lore on it or whatever. But it does feel like this season isn't a filler. It feels like this season is an afterthought to introduce Strand story-wise.
No, I think you're right, because listening to the Last Word podcast, they were saying that Strand fits completely with the Witch Queen, and you can tell that this was a darkness subclass that should have gone along with the Witch Queen, because Savathun with threads in time and manipulating things like that, it's something that should have gone with Witch Queen. It should have gone Beyond Light with Stasis, Witch Queen with Strand, and then Lightfall with something else, or the Final Shape with something else. And they were questioning whether it's going to get to the point of the diamond is now kind of complete on our characters. Do they go, well, you've got 3 light and 2 dark and that's it? Or do they put another darkness subclass in and go this, this, and this? I mean, they did point out we do have kind of 6 already. We have kinetic in there as well as stasis and strand, arc, solar, and void. So we do have 6 in total. So they could make something out of kinetic if they wanted to kind of go down that route and empower you with some kind of kinetic ability. But also with what you were saying about with the witness, you don't know whether he's disappeared or not. We don't know where he's kind of gone. I mean, this is a kind of guy that we've seen make planets disappear into kind of black holes and things. So it's quite possible that he's still around and he's just completely pulling strings and doing things in the background. We don't know. And the other thing that you were saying about the raid boss, I think they answer your question in the cutscene that if, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think Bungie have done people dirty if you haven't even kind of stepped into the campaign or you haven't completed the campaign. Because as soon as you turn on Destiny, like this morning after the raid was done, I turned it on just to capture the cutscene, and it kind of played the cutscene for me. And I hadn't done, I haven't played the raid, so I don't know who that end boss is. I mean, they don't spoil who the end boss is, but they say, through the actions of the traveler, through the actions of the witness, this is what happens to this character. He's kind of empowered and blah, 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 and goes on to kind of explain kind of the end of the raid. So again, even there, they say they don't know where he's gone. We're going to have to kind of track him down. But yeah, I don't know if that's a thing that if you haven't done the raid, haven't even done the campaign, it automatically plays that, because you'd be completely confused if you log on for the first time in the next couple of weeks and go, right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play Lightfall, and this suddenly plays first off. You'd be like, huh? What's going on? I've no idea what's going on. And then you get the cutscene at the beginning with the traveler opening up and shooting and stuff, and you'd be like, this is round the wrong way kind of thing. So I hope Bungie have kind of figured out that they should do that after you've completed the campaign. It kind of plays in that order, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, there's also like the initial cutscenes. Hopefully, it will play like in the order. You'll get the campaign cutscenes and then this one, but yeah, who knows? Trying to follow.
Is it spoilers to talk about the raid exotic?
No, you can talk about the raid exotic.
Okay, sorry, Perry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you stopped, dude.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. I mean, I think at this point we've given our light spoiler warnings where if you don't want to know things, abandon hope. But anything at this point is sort of fair game. The raid's out there. I mean, really, like, look at YouTube thumbnails and things are spoiled for you. So I mean, if you're looking at anything at all, you've given up hope on having things not spoiled for you.
Right. I'm not going to spoil it, but the raid exotic has lore attached to it, right?
Okay.
And the lore has a really spicy interaction between Savathun and the raid boss. And I'm just like, wow, she did a lot more in the background than we ever even knew.
Yeah.
Like she knew about Neptune long before we did, and even saved them. Like, what? So like she's been doing quote good things for much longer than we ever thought. I was very surprised by this, So I just wanted to say that because we were talking about the relationships and who did what and when and where and whatnot, but it's very interesting lore tied to the shotgun about what Savathun was up to long before we knew she existed, and the things she did to this raid boss, which could understandably anger him. And I don't know why he's taking it out on us. She did it. And we killed him. We should be friends,
I was contacted by Arth this week, who'd listened to one of the episodes where I was kind of talking about the pukas and how come Elsie Bray, the stranger, has got a puka, and where has it come from? If she's been to Neptune, how come she hasn't told us about it? He told me that there is lore to say that she found it on the space station and not on Neptune.
So somebody just abandoned this poor puka to a space station?
Apparently.
Just left it there?
It's just one puka by itself, and she decided to adopt it. Take it home. It does sound like my children. They would do kind of something like that. They would just kind of bring home a stray animal, and you'd be like, "Where have you got this from?" I found it.
Space fish. Dad.
Take it back. Take it back now.
Can I keep the space fish? It's a space fish.
Blue.
I was surprised that there was lore for that. I thought that she had been there and had just kept it a secret. So
Fair enough.
Spoilers, she's a Cloud Strider.
No,
She just doesn't need mods because she's an EXO.
She's been alive far too long for that.
Oh, speaking of Cloud
Yo,
Strider, that death, right?
yeah.
That really annoyed me because, like I said last week, when I was watching,
Right? I told you, man. It felt so forced, McGann.
yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of other people have said that death was kind of forced. You've just met these people, and you're kind of meant to feel something for this poor guy that's given up his life to help save you, and you'll be like, yeah, good, thanks, yeah, you know,
moving on.
yeah.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the other guy tries too hard to be Michelangelo from Ninja Turtles. That's the vibe I get. It's like he's trying to be this super totally cool tubular dude, man, but he tries too hard and he fails, you know? And if that person had been gone, at least you would have gotten a reaction out of the people. They'd be like, yeah! Right? So at
Was that
least you got a
excitement there?
reaction. Yeah, that was excitement, you know. I mean, that would have been at least had a reaction. The other one, you're just like, oh, well, sorry.
Yeah.
You know? And now for something totally different, right? So, I don't know. We'll continue.
Yeah, it's just weird that, I mean, we have these, I mean, 2 Cloud Striders for one, and we're going to kill off one immediately before you even, get to form an attachment. It's like, these people have been here, they've been defending things. Oh, there's only 2 of them, and we're going to kill off one. So now you got one. Sorry, we had a budget for one guy, so here's what you get now.
But has it got to that point where Bungie are saying, like, we've got all these characters, all these good characters, and every time we kill one of them off, it seems to kind of have a really nasty effect in the community? I mean, look what happened with Cade, the outrage that, we killed off one of the main characters. But
they gave him a memorial now. He has a statue.
Yeah, he does. But they're like, oh, we've killed off this character, and then we've brought them back. We've killed off this character, and we've brought them back. It's like, so I don't know if it's one of those things where they're kind of stuck in a loop of they've got to kill somebody off, but then it's hard to kind of kill off a main character because that has,
why
feels
you
in the community.
killed Cade, killed Zavala. Do us all a favor.
Yeah,
well, everybody was saying that, weren't they? They were saying that Zavala's going to be the next one to go.
Well, I hope so.
The other part, like I'm sitting here watching, watching the Traveler, get a whole, smash to him, and we've got Ikora and Zavala and company just standing there watching, like, huh, that's bad. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, why are we just standing here watching again? I'm not gonna say you're like jump in front of the witness, like, carving a hole in the Traveler, but like, you're just gonna stand there and watch. Like, this is your entire plan. You're like, hold on,
no, that's
I'm gonna
watch.
Fair.
They didn't just watch. They pushed the button to raise the blast doors, and then they pushed the button to lower the blast doors. They did
the man
two
has
things.
A bubble. See, even Zavala knows the bubble is not worth using at this point. He's like, I'm gonna need blast doors. The bubble's been nerfed so bad, it's not even worth me putting it up. We won't live through this.
Oh,
but no, okay. So Ikora does things, right? And you can tell that Ikora. Hold on.
She built a Stargate like 6 years ago. And I assume, and now she hands out fragments to things.
Yeah, every now and then she gets to hand out some fragments,
but not the Strand ones. I love that you go to the pond to see the fish for your Strand fragments. I love that, and I love that you can put a little splashy emote on and you can splash in the pond.
I'm upset with Respawn about this because last week he told me it was Glimmer. You need so much Glimmer to kind of buy these aspects and fragments for Strand. And I actually believed him. Mm-hmm. I went there.
I did not. I told you there was Strand currency.
No,
I specifically said Strand currency.
No.
No. You're not putting this on me.
Those are Strand motes.
You said you need Glimmer.
They are motes of Strand. Because while they didn't change Gambit, they made you pick up all the Gambit modes throughout the entire game to give to the fish.
Yeah.
They're even green like Gambit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, like I was saying earlier, Ikora's a baller, right? I mean, like, just out of nostalgia's reason, I went back and I watched the ending of Cade, right? The Forsaken, what happened in Forsaken. And Ikora was all like, raise everybody, every hunter, every warlock, every titan. We will storm them and we will make them pay, right? She was about it. And then Zavala's like, no. Right,
You know
what?
why?
Sorry, what?
You know why
Huh?
Zavala was like, no? Because he was like,
Because he's a coward.
no. He was like, no, we don't need to waste all these guardians just to get on with the mission.
No, that's not what he said. That's
no,
what you took from it. But he said no because he doesn't want to start a war. He doesn't want to start an endless cycle. That's what he said.
He charged us with completing it, and we went ahead and completed it.
He didn't charge us. Our guardian said no, he's mine. Our guardian stepped up. Zavala didn't want to do anything. Go back and watch it. Zavala was not going to do anything.
Zavala knew that. He knew what we would say.
Uh-huh. We hadn't talked in 6 years, and he knew we were going to say something right here. Get out of here.
He did.
But no, and then after that, when we were attacked, Ikora's out in the field throwing void bombs everywhere. She blew up that ship that was about to shoot us. Ikora is about it, right? So if Ikora isn't doing anything, it's because Zavala has told her not to. So yeah, don't put her on the same plane as Zavala, bro.
No, I think that Ikora is her own woman. If she wanted to go and do something, she doesn't need Zavala's permission to go and do something. She would just go and do it.
So she's just not interested in doing things.
No,
since the Vex portal.
No, yeah, she had yeah.
She's like, listen, I'm tired. I just want to be a
Maybe it's because of the Vex portal.
She's like,
she's all like, I'm going to do this thing, and then it failed.
Did you guys find it strange? Because again, listening to the other podcasts, they were saying that it seems to be strange that it drops literally the second week. We've got an exotic quest before the raid drops to go and get this glaive. Do you guys find it strange, or do you think that Bungie are just trying to change things up with, they've gone down the road so far of doing season after season after season exactly the same way? We go to the helm, we open up a wing, we do like all the bounties, we collect all the different nodes and we unlock it all, and then we just move on to the next one and round and round and round, and on certain weeks there'll be certain things, and then an exotic quest here and a dungeon there. Do you think Bungie is actually kind of changing things up by just throwing it in there the second week, or do you think this is a knee-jerk reaction to the community saying that they weren't happy with Lightfall?
I mean, I think it was there all along. I don't think they added it in this week. It would have been nice for the sake of the pacing of this season to not throw everything in the first 3 weeks. We've got the new season, Strand, the campaign. Here's a new exotic quest. Here's a raid dropping. I mean, everyone should be done with it. I say everyone. I haven't touched half of this stuff. People will be done with all this content, making their raid guides and how to get your Vex caliber and do all this stuff. And it's like, what are you saving for the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season? Maybe, it would have been fun to sprinkle this in. I mean, maybe they have something else coming later on this season, but it seems just like a whole lot of stuff you've preloaded up front and then gone, okay, it's all in the game. And then, there's something at the end of the season, maybe, hopefully, or just work on your weekly challenges.
Or do you think the season is that stacked that there's so much stuff that they've put in this first season? Because we've got stuff for Lightfall and the season on top of that. I mean, to be honest, I haven't touched one thing to do with the season, so I'm going to be about 2 or 3 weeks behind. Find out what Marasav actually wants at the farm.
Oh, truly. I've done little bits and pieces of a whole bunch of different quests. I can't even tell you what exactly. I've been just murdering things on Neomuna with weapons to get their catalyst done because I can. I'm like, what am I working for? I don't know. I'm murdering things on Neomuna. It's beautiful. I can swing around and smash things in the face. It's good fun.
I like to have so many things to do. In fact, when I was doing the story with Peroty, we kind of took a left turn at Albuquerque because there were chucking quest lines that was so quick. We started chasing the queen down a little bit, and it was funny. And I'm a fan.
Yeah. When we ended up on the farm, going, wait, we're talking tomorrow, but this isn't the campaign. Hold on. And then we ended up in that new the new, I guess, patrol activity with the 3 rounds where you start with the Scion in the sky with the heavy box in front of you. Shoot the 3 things. Yeah, we started doing one of those, and then realizing, wait, because Neomuna, Like it drops you in a Neo Moon, and then sometimes you have to go to the flag. Sometimes you're in the campaign running the next thing. We just thought, oh, this is the first like part of this new campaign thing. No, we're just here fighting things at that point, massively overpowered above us. Going, this is not
That's
going
right.
well for us. Are
We
supposed
burned
to?
a whole bunch of
We're not
tokens
supposed to be here.
upgrading our
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. It's like, oh, we're not even supposed to be here. This is not even. We done like 3 or 4 of the campaign missions.
Right.
Like, oh, we're not even
Yeah.
close to powerful enough to do any damage to these guys. Like, let's get back to what we were trying to do.
Yeah, I would be disappointed if they just dumped everything out of the bag onto the players in the first 3 weeks and then did nothing. That would be a bummer. But
Unfortunately, I think that's exactly what they did. I'm with Nitedemon. This is, I wouldn't say a knee-jerk reaction. It's more like they're scrambling to try to make a season out of just a whole bunch of ideas somebody had and didn't have the forethought to put it in any kind of chronological order that made any sense, you know? So, I don't know. Maybe they knew the raid was going to be short. Maybe they knew that we're going to have it. Maybe they knew something ahead of time and didn't tell us and are just appeasing us right now with all of these exotics. Because look how many problems we've had in the game, right? They disabled like 9 things for the raid. We have Invisible Guardians. I mean, the Invisible Guardians is the reason that the Iron Banner got moved, right? There are so many inexcusable bugs in the game right now that they're just trying to win us over by giving us shiny things.
Well, that's the thing, though. I
Sometimes
don't
they
think
do.
like Bungie and Destiny 2 is too big a ship to turn on a dime. Like it's not like they're saying,
Right.
dump all this into the game because of day 1 reviews. Like this is way too big a thing to do that quickly, and that's where things will blow up. I mean, to be fair, yes, there are bugs with the Invisible Guardians. PvP is kind of a mess. But I mean, PvE for the most part works out fine. I mean, the raid, I didn't hear a lot of. I was sort of, hopping around different Twitch streams, respawns included, and I was, just looking at just Twitter feedback from the raid and stuff yesterday. I didn't see a lot of like bugs in the raid. People weren't getting kicked out or sent to orbit or, hey, I can't get past this. This seems to be broken. So I mean, it's like, yeah, there's some bugs and certainly there are issues. I mean, the game is not like in the best place, and I mean, it's also just a brand new giant expansion drop, which is always sends things into chaos. But I mean, overall, yeah, they turned off a bunch of stuff, but like the game itself seems to be working mostly for the most part. Not to say people aren't having problems, because they absolutely are. And yeah, and they turned off the necrotic grips right before the raid, going, yeah, maybe. And I'm sure everybody was, looking to bring that loadout into the raid
Which
too.
is dumb because it's not even broken. It's
Apparently it's
powerful, yes,
broken.
but it's not powerful, broken powerful.
Well, apparently something about it's broken powerful, at least
Whatever.
in Bungie's eyes.
But yeah, as far as the raid goes, we did have issues. Man cannons not putting you on the third story. Yeah, I mean the man cannons were a big problem. My brother died so many times to the man cannons, and also there's a place where you got to go into a bubble, shoot the thing, and everybody in there gets a buff, like in Crown of Sorrow, right? So many times, everybody's in there for a good 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You shoot it, and then nobody's got the buff. We're like, what? And then we have to wait 20 seconds for it to reload so we can get the buff to kill the invincible guys. There were lots of problems in the raid, man. So yeah.
So it's a normal Bungie expansion.
Yeah, it sounds like it, doesn't it? I mean, I think I did a Durian last week, and I said that even though we were quickly into the game and there didn't seem to be that many bugs that were affecting things, I think I spoke too soon, and there was a lot of bugs, and I think it was a lot of hidden bugs that have suddenly kind of bubbled to the surface in the last couple of weeks as more Guardians have had time to play with it and found these different things. I loved a video that Cheese Forever put out this week. He posted this video saying Bungie thought they fixed it post hotfix, and just an LOL laughing emoji on the thumbnail. So I was like, this. I think they're scrambling to deal with. It's like whack-a-mole at the moment with all the different bugs and things. And I was saying to Blue the other day, I think they actually turned it off for about 2 or 3 hours, or maybe even longer. They had to. There was an emergency maintenance that they turned Destiny off for a couple of hours. think it was about 8 or 9 o'clock at your time, so it was like in the middle of the morning for me, like 3 o'clock in the morning that was turned off. But yeah,
I saw that. Yeah, I mean, it's gotta be stressful too. Like you're launching this whole new season, these huge quality of life changes, whole new subclass into the game, which is going to be a balancing nightmare. And you have the big basically like marquee event of each new expansion, the world's first raid race, like in 2 weeks. Going, okay, we have to figure out where the bugs are, what they are, and try to mitigate them best we can in the next 10 business days. Go. I don't envy anybody that task. Meanwhile, you've got your staff of a couple hundreds, couple thousands, however many people work at Bungie that are actively like looking at this stuff and troubleshooting it and trying to fix it, versus 500,000 people playing the game. Whatever the whatever the active player counts are right now, it's you versus a literal army of people looking for each and every way to get every ounce of advantage or cheese or whatever they can, whatever weird interaction they can find or weird bug they can take advantage of.
I mean, you've got to give it to Bungie. They are dealing with a live service game, and it is a one of a kind. To be honest, they're dealing with about 5 different platforms. You've got older Xboxes, you've got the new Xboxes, you've got the old PS4s and PS5s, and you've got PC. You did have Stadia. It's like we're dealing with so many kind of strands, as it were, to this one kind of thing. Whereas things like World of Warcraft, with they're just kind of on PC, they don't have to deal with all these other kind of elements. And I think Bungie, to their credit, do a lot of hard work to kind of keep this game up and running and doing what they can to make it as good as it is. I mean, it does have good weeks and it does have bad weeks, and we have good content and we have bad content, and it's just, I've got to give them credit for the amount of hard work and effort they do put into the game. To be honest, it is a mammoth task.
I can't call this anything but a win of a launch. I know some people had some problem getting on. I got on immediately. I've had one bug where I turn invisible and I can't see my rectal, but it's not a game breaker. And if I clear the cache on my Xbox, it goes away. I acknowledge there were some things in the raid, but that's not a buggy raid. That's day one. I mean, a lot of people had a lot of fun in there. I mean, I think this is a triumph. Like, even without whatever 4 or 5 platforms they're doing, I think Bungie's.
So if you were a new Light Guardian or just a new player or returning player and you picked up Lightfall, do you think this is a good point for you to kind of jump in to the game? And do you think it kind of brings you up to speed very quickly, or do you think it's going to be, because they said they were going to try and improve the New Light experience, but I haven't kind of seen that as yet, of explaining people where to take Guardians, like literally take them by the hand. I mean, I've seen in other games that they kind of do a short little video tutorial on the screen as you kind of click this tutorial, and it will tell you in video form where to go, what to do, what to say. And I think that's something that Destiny is lacking for like the new and returning players. There's a lot of things that flash up on my screen, and I was confused this week of where to go and what to do. And I'm entrenched in lots of Destiny stuff, and I was saying to you that I'm really confused that this is flashing over here, this is flashing over here. Which is the thing that we were doing, that kind of quest line or that thing that we were? I mean, I had to go back into the quest and read it, and like, well, it doesn't specifically say. I mean, we were looking at the Vex Excalibur, weren't we, to continue that? And we got to the point where we got the Vex Excalibur, and we gone and done various different tasks and killed Vex with it. But then after that, you could go back and select the mission again and put it on a harder difficulty. But it doesn't actually tell you in the quest tab that as far as I'm aware, that that's what you need to do to kind of unlock the kind of the next catalyst or expansion or extension to that sword, or sorry, extension to that glaive. But I think sometimes that's what's confusing. Yes, you could write a little quest thing, you can go into it and you can read even more, but it doesn't take you by the hand. And I think sometimes it misses out. I mean, what do you guys think?
I think you're right. Bungie depends way too much on our our existing knowledge, right? Like we know because we've done these things in the past, right? Especially lately, they put into our brains. The first time you go through is easy mode. You get the weapon, like we did with the pulse rifle, right? That we had to build, right?
Yeah.
And then once you saw that it had multiple catalysts, you knew, oh, they're gonna make me go in on the harder difficulty to get my catalyst because we know that because that's what we've had to do previously, right?
Mhm.
But in game, there's no explanation. There's no nothing. Even when you look at the two difficulties, right? When it's got the regular and the legendary or whatever the hell they are, legendary master, whatever it is.
Yeah.
One of them doesn't say this is where you get the catalyst. It doesn't tell you. You know, there's just nothing there. It depends on our pre-existing knowledge, so it's not very light friendly at all. My brother, who just came back after 4 expansions,
Yeah.
is completely lost. Like he's always asking me
Yeah.
questions. What do I go here? What do I do here? What do I do here? What do I do here? And the thing about it is he used to go to the lighthouse all the time. He was a phenomenal PvP player, and he used to drag me through raids initially, right? And to go from being that into the game to not knowing left from right, like it's shocking, you know? And I'm watching it from his eyes, and it's crazy to know that as knowledgeable as he is, coming back into the game, he has no idea what's going on. Imagine what a new light feels like.
I think Bungie's doing more than ever to explain things. I don't know, Perry. What do you think? That was we were laughing about it.
Yeah,
because they were actually explaining it. I was joking.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah, I mean, I think they're getting better. They're not there, but yeah, like actually having some iota of explanation. I can't remember exactly what we were looking at. It's like, oh, there's some actual, like a little bit of explanation on this mechanic or how to do this thing, or there's something. I mean, just the fact that we were laughing about that there was literally anything, even the tiniest breadcrumb of what I should be doing, where I should be going, just that there was anything at all being an improvement. I mean,
Do you
speaks to
find that
the
that's
problem.
because you're an existing guardian and you've, like Respawn said, you've been along this journey, so you roughly know where to look and how to decipher that this is what we're meant to be doing? Whereas if you're looking at it as a new light player, does it explain it better for new light players, or do you think it's still like? I mean, I know you said it needs a bit of work, but does it need more work than that?
It definitely needs more work. There's so much of this game that as I play it, I recognize mechanics. I recognize, oh, here's 3 things next to a door. I should probably shoot these things. And now some of that may just be, you play video games, you start to see video game mechanics. Hey, there's a door that's locked. There's a thing I can shoot next to the door to open it. But some of it's, oh, hey, I've seen this before. I've seen this exact mechanic before. The pictures were different, but the idea was the same. So it's hard to tell how much of it is I've played Destiny long enough to pick up on those, mechanics and tropes, or I've played video games long enough just to know sort of to pick up on those mechanics and tropes of here's how I do this thing. I mean, even walking into the Defiant battleground for the first couple times, it's like the mechanics there are a lot like the Blind Well in places. Had I never played Blind Well, I would have a very hard time. And even before I knew that's what it was, trying to understand the mechanic where you're in the room, where you're just taking tick damage, being out in the room, it's entirely unclear. Oh, I need to run over to this thing to light the battle fire, or whatever the thing's called. And then if I stand, okay, now there's a bubble. Okay, so if I stand in the bubble, now I'm safe. But there's nothing to tell me that. There's nothing to lead me there. You sort of, I mean, that's sort of, I think, where they're going, like with the battleground activities, because it's match made. Thank God it's match made. Odds are you can probably get in with someone who understands some of the mechanics. And you sort of have to, sort of pick it up by learning. Say, what are these guys doing? How are you living? Oh, let me go follow you and see what you're up to. A lot of it is sort of learn by seeing what the other players do.
Yeah.
But that's sort of once you're in the activity. Before you're in the activity, it's you're overwhelmed by so many things to do with very little explanation.
I think there are 2 things. First, as I was learning Strand, I was recognizing that this awkward thing is just this phase that I'm going to get through, right? And I won't remember the learning curve. Respawn, you were just in the raid for the first time, and that moment is the best part of what you were doing, is the problem solving. You figuring that stuff out. That's the game, right? So that's part 1, right? We've already done so many things in this game that we're not enjoying that first time experience. Right. I don't think that's a negative necessarily. And the other is my feeling that they're really, really supporting the YouTubers and the streamers because that's an enormous opportunity to spread the word about the game. The only reason I know about Destiny is because there was this kid on Twitch that I thought was a good guy, and he went and he was playing with this game. That's how I got here. And so they have to be provided with the opportunity to explain things to me that I don't have time to figure out.
Like
Neo Luna.
They have no time to explain.
Neo Luna introduced a mechanic that I'd never seen in Destiny.
Have no time to
right? I know you ready for this? A breakable door. Because there's this one part in the story mode, right, when you go over to the door and you're looking for the button. You're looking for the mechanic. You're like, all right, where's the button? Where's the thing I have to shoot? Yeah, I was looking in that room for like 5 minutes, right? Could not figure out how to open the door. Yeah, right. Yeah,
and this
could not figure out how to open the door. And my brother comes in and he just like shoots the door accidentally. I'm like, did that just break?
Can I just ask a quick question? Is your brother a Titan?
Yes.
There you go. I'm sorry. I walked straight past it. I walked at the door. I threw my hammer at it, and it just smashed open. I was like, oh, "Okay, this is where I'm going." I get where you're coming from.
Who at Bungie did doors hurt? I really want to know, because I've run the campaign now with Blue Screen, with Panoramics, with a couple other people. Just doing various parts of it. I'm like, you can look at the doors. You might walk through a door, but for the most part, you're going to find a vent. You're going to find a hallway. You're going to find a curtain to crawl through. There's a crack on the wall. Bungie, who did doors hurt? Who hates doors over there? Because we're going to put lots of doors into this campaign. You're not using any of them. They're very pretty doors. They're not for you.
I think that they're throwing work to the vent repairman.
Yeah. And the one time they give you a door, it doesn't open. You have to shoot through it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what? It's like, I felt so stupid when he just came up and he didn't mean to shoot the door. He was just like, when you're bored and you just start shooting your weapon or whatever. He didn't even mean to shoot it. And I noticed it took damage. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. We have breakable doors now? What? I felt so stupid. It's like, oh my God. Oh man.
Now, with Strand, I feel that they did go above and beyond with explaining how to use that subclass. And I did feel like what Peroty always says, that I felt like I was a drunk toddler using it and experimenting with it. But I think that they did a lot more of, I know they kind of forced you to use it in the campaign at every opportunity. Go here, pick up this, and then just use it. But then they kind of walked you through of how to use it and what to do with lots of pop-ups on the screen, and it was quite useful. And I think that they did quite a good job in explaining that and how to use that from an existing Guardian. I'm not sure how a new Light player would kind of get on with it, but hopefully I think that they've done a good job with that. But the other funny thing was in the campaign, now I completely missed it, but there was these little diamonds that on some of the doors that you had to shoot the enemies in a certain order. Now, the first time I kind of came up against these kind of diamonds on the doors, I was tearing away through with these enemies with Strand, and these doors were just opening, and I wasn't paying any attention to the sequence of these diamonds that were kind of having these doors close. And it wasn't until I got to a certain area that every time I was kind of just decimating all these enemies that the door just wouldn't open. And even then, it still took me, I think, a good amount of time to figure out that I needed to shoot specific enemies to then open get the sequence to work, because that wasn't explained. It wasn't like, oh, shoot this glowing harpy, then shoot a normal one, shoot another glowing harpy. It's like, that was confusing. And I think that's because where I'd just kind of torn through the enemies to start off with, and the game just went, oh yeah, you've done that sequence. It didn't explain to me when I first came up against that sequence, oh, you've got to do it like this.
See, that's the difference between a Titan and everybody else. The rest of us immediately recognized that this was a puzzle because it's in front of a door. Titan's like, see things, smash things, see things, smash thing. Why door no open? See things, smash thing, door no open.
Listen,
just stuck there.
You give me every super as a way to use my fists on something, I'm going to solve every problem by using my fists on something. If I kill them all and let one of the gods sort them out, I'll get through the room eventually. There's nothing else left standing to stop me.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Blue, what about you?
Well, it's a miracle that the hunters ever got through, because they were just hiding the whole time. Go invisible and hope something opens the door for them.
Hey, first of all, it's called scouting. All right, and that's how you gain information. All right, if I watch the door long enough, somebody smarter than me is going to show me how to open it. All right, shut up. Not hiding, scouting. Scouting.
I have a couple of builds on my hunter that I really love, and for some hard content, I think it's a superior way to get through. But I have to tell you, I have a name for that build that you might not like. Respawn.
Hide like a B word.
It's called coward mode.
Yeah, I know. I have that. Last night, if you're watching the raid, I'm like, while we're getting everything ready, I'm like, I'm going in with Omnioculus. They're like, why? Strand is so strong. It's like, because I don't know what mechanics we're going to run into, and I'm going to hide, and whoever's on my team, I'm going to hide them until we figure it out.
Yeah, and it really works. It works,
does,
but it's not the Titan way.
And you actually need it on the spoilers here, right? When you get the exotic glaive, right, you have to go back in the hard mode, and at one point you have to fall down a hole to stop from being deleted. Except there's a creature that comes over the hole and shoots down and kills you. So, and it's a high level boss. It's hard to kill him before he kills at least one of you, right? Not if you're a hunter with Omnioculus. Just turn everybody invis, and that's it. You're done. You know,
we good old, if you can dodge a brick, you can dodge a ball theory. I like it.
Yeah.
No, if you can hide from the brick, you can. You don't need to dodge the ball.
So, have we got any more thoughts on campaign and story that you guys want to discuss before we move into this week at Bungie?
Well, to follow up on your training of, Osiris's step in there where he makes us go in that little round room with the blender blade in it was just dreadful. And it really did. I mean, I couldn't get through it on my own, soloing it, without really embracing that thread. Yeah. No, I got through it, but I had to learn the subclass.
So we actually,
I think it was totally effective.
Whenever we went in as a group, we cheesed the hell out of it, right? You can, if you look up at the wall that you can't go past, there's all kinds of holes, and you can go on the other side of the wall, right? There's a hole you can shoot through the door, and there's spots where you can get that high enough that you can shoot down, and they can't shoot you. Bunch of cheeses in that room, right? Because we tried doing it legitimately as a team. We kept dying because it scales up the more people you have. And there's a mission where you have to do that in under 5 minutes. And come to find out, soloing it is literally the easiest way to do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's just like... What, Elijah?
Yeah, I think your experience, like, I wasn't tempted to cheese it. I was there to do the hard thing.
Ooh.
And by doing that, it was teaching me how to use the subclass. I couldn't do it without.
Yeah, I think
without that subclass.
That was the good thing about that. It was literally, you've had all these Strand elements, you've played around with it, we've told you how to use it. Now go in this room and use it. Kind of. Don't use anything else. You use this. And I did enjoy Tarzaning around that room, kind of going from those balls in the sky, just spinning around that room, chasing that blade. That was fun. I really did enjoy
I could
that.
pull myself up. Yeah, I could pull myself up to those snipers. I mean, it was problem solved.
I told Mike after I had already beaten it before he did, I was like, dude, I totally got it. He goes, what? I'm like, you have to use, they have 4 little balls, and you have to keep stranding to each one and spinning in the room, right? And you gain momentum, and you come down with that powered melee. That's all you do. You spin, melee, spin, melee, spin, melee. And I told him that as a joke, right? And he goes, oh, wow, that really worked. I'm like, what worked? Because I totally forgot. He goes, the whole spinning thing. I'm like, wait, you actually did that? He goes, yeah. I'm like,
yeah, it does work.
Oh, I was just messing with you, dude.
Yeah,
especially as a Titan,
again, I ran the whole. I basically put the syntheceps on and didn't take them off with Strand because I don't know if that I'm gonna grapple your face and smash into it with my giant crab claw is broken, but it feels like it's doing a lot more damage than it should. I am deleting things that I feel like I should not be deleting.
Do you have the sequence down? There's a sequence to get max damage out of it.
Tether their face, smash into their face with a crab claw, repeat. Because that's what I'm doing.
Oh, you're not talking about the super?
No. I mean the super, yeah, like that's fun too. But no, I'm just talking about using the grapple and my one of 3 powered melees to kill you. Yeah, no, like I'm not even talking about the super. The super, Yeah, the super, I need to get the sequence down because I'm still semi-drunken toddler, but it doesn't matter if they're suspended and can't fight back.
Heavy,
No,
light,
just,
light,
just,
heavy,
just,
light, light, heavy, light, light, heavy. It's how you do
yeah.
max damage.
Okay. Yeah, but just the tethering, I'm going to tether to you, come over there and smash you in the face with the syntheseps on, just murders things, and it makes me happy. And like that stupid, Twister washing machine room, I feel like was a good Strand lesson. But also the Callus fight too, because I tried the Callus fight a couple of times without Strand, just going, let me see if I can do this as a Void Titan or a Void Lock, and no, you really, it's like, no, we're gonna design this to make it to make you use Strand.
Yeah.
So we are gonna teach you Strand like you have never learned another subclass in this game. I mean, granted, there's a whole movement mechanic behind Strand that we've never had before. But it really did feel like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to enjoy this experience. You're going to need the Strand to make this happen.
And one of the best build for I don't know about Titans, but I know for Warlocks and Hunters, the best build to use is put a Strand thing in the air and keep stranding to that one orb you've got in the air and empowering melees. You get your supers back in like 11 seconds, right?
But is that in the campaign only?
Well, yeah, you can't do it in PvP. Yeah, no. Not that I'm aware of. I don't play a lot of PvP. I don't know if you can drop orbs in PvP.
Yeah, but he means, like, is it campaign level of Strand or out in like Neomuda in patrol level of Strand?
Anywhere, dude.
Yeah, because there's campaign Strand and there's regular Strand.
Yeah,
which I know some people also had complaints with.
Yeah, because like last night, whenever we started getting flooded with ads, I was using Void first, and then I swapped to Strand, and I started doing the whole tether punch thing to get my super back, and I was getting my super in time for the barrier champions and the one yellow bar tough guy to come out. I had a super every time those guys were coming out because of that strand abuse, right?
Yeah.
So no, it's absolutely good late game too, man. It's so strong. It's a melee that, at least for hunters, is 10 times stronger than our empowered melee. Our empowered melee sucks. It's only good for getting us back, dodge energy or grenade energy. That's all it's good for, right? Because it does no damage. But when we strand to something and you hit them with that empowered melee, it's like getting hit with a super melee. It's so freaking powerful, and it's an AoE. And if you have the grenade kills drop orbs or melee kills drop orbs, you can have both of those on. Mm-hmm. And because you're stranding, your grenade quotes is getting these kills, and you're getting a melee kill. So you're getting double the orbs on the same number of ads being killed, because you're getting them from the grenade and the melee, which is nuts. I didn't even know that. Yeah. So, it's heavily abusable.
Those between the siphon mods and the heavy finisher, it's stupidly fun.
Mm-hmm.
I have weapons, but I choose not to use them.
Yeah. The only problem that I had with Strand, because I said I broke my wrist, is that there's a lot more kind of button pushing and kind of getting that timing down, and I was really failing in that kind of blender room, and that's when Blue came and helped me. It's like you need to be very kind of on point with tethering and getting that sequence together, and I couldn't do it with my hand being the way it was. The other thing that I found out whilst doing the campaign solo, which I have put a video out this week, or literally yesterday, was that there seems to be I'd say it's a bug, but maybe it is kind of just in the coding and they can't do anything about it. I went into the campaign as a Laurely Splendor wearing Solar Titan. Mm-hmm. And every time that I picked up Strand, it still gave me the abilities or the healing abilities of my Laurely Splendor. So it would drop the fire pool at my feet when I was damaged. So I would heal while still wielding Strand. And I survived more engagements with that I shouldn't have in the solo legend campaign, or just in the legend campaign. It was ridiculous that you can still have your solar abilities as long as you've kind of got like the Soul Invictus thing on, so it drops the fireballs. Even when I put the barricade up, it would strand them, tangle them up, but it would drop the fire pit at my feet as well. So if they were close enough, it would burn them as well. So
I think it's in the code, because the Lorelei Splendor, I'm looking at it now.
No, it doesn't work.
Say anything about being.
No, it only works on a solar subclass. It only works on a solar subclass. But because the game sees that you are wielding your solar subclass and not Strand as a subclass. It's just kind of a pick up power up. It's like doing both things. So it worked really well. So I put out a short video yesterday of just going, if anybody's having trouble and you don't mind playing as a Titan, you can do this. It's like,
oh, interesting. Yeah. Because you're still playing your base subclass, and then you're learning the Strand within, and then becoming Strand. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, I see.
Good little
so you're hopping between the two.
tip trick.
Because like I was looking at it right here, and it doesn't say anything about a solo class. It just says when you're critically wounded with full class ability, when you cast a barricade, you create a sunspot that has improved restoration. That's all it says. It doesn't say you have to be on a solo subclass. It just says it uses a barricade.
Yes, but
you need a sunspot, but you need to be solar to have that sunspot.
I understand what you guys are saying, but I was just looking at it to see if that's why it was doing the thing.
No, I did try it out in the normal kind of near Muna area, and just wear that and have the subclass equipped, the Strand subclass, and it doesn't work. It's like, no, you can only do it in the campaign, which made me wonder, is there anything, because I couldn't remember, is there anything that when warlocks get damaged enough that they drop like a healing rift at their feet? And I don't think there is. I think that
is Titan only, buddy. Nobody else has that.
Yeah, no, there's on death. You drop the rift with the stag
one,
or whatever, but not with just.
And the same with the hunters. I don't think there's anything on hunters. Although you might be able to use. Is there something like? Is there a? I can't remember. Is there an exotic that you can go invisible if you get damaged, or you jump or something?
Not as you're being damaged. No, we don't have any things that work on a reflex. Most of our exotics require us to use a dodge to do a thing.
I'm wondering now.
What's the one with the beetle on, dude? Does that require?
Oh yes, Kepri's Sting. When you're right. Oh, so Kepri's Sting. If you get meleeed specifically, you drop a smoke bomb if you have one.
Yeah.
And you go invis while they get poisoned.
Okay.
But
so that could potentially work in the same way, but you kind of have to be meleeed whilst wearing that exotic on a void subclass while wielding Strand. Might be something worth kind of testing out.
Maybe.
But anyway, people might have already completed the campaign by now.
Most people probably have on at least 2 characters. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And one of those 2 characters is not a Titan
first. We knew that you'd run through on your Titan first.
Nope, Titan still ain't been through.
Because you need to figure out how to get those doors open in the first place, which is why you can then confidently say to me, as a hunter, you knew what to do.
No, as a hunter, I didn't know what to do after somebody showed me.
Because he brought the Titan with him to smash through the doorway.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
I'm super happy to have done it on all 3 characters, and I couldn't find anybody, so I got to do the last bits by myself, which was so hard.
You had a few tips, didn't you, for that final boss room that you were going through with me? Did you just want to?
Yeah, that's the benefit. Yeah.
Did you just want to explain if there's kind of you've got some tips on that final room with Callus?
Yeah, certainly, and this is based on what we call maybe 150 or 200 deaths as a research basis.
But the Abantus.
Yep, I am not a Abantus. Remember that. Whenever I watch his videos, I think I could do this. But the auto-loading concussive grenade launcher
is your friend.
Is your friend, and so it buys you time. It settles everything down. It gives you a chance to deal with that.
And if you don't have that, Strand is
your friend.
Yeah.
Strand is good, but it doesn't re-up as quick as that. I really enjoy the odd exotic bow. I was using Lloyd La Monarque, which was great. When Nitedemon came in, he was throwing around solar explosions, which was also great. They both do AoE, but with his explosion, he was actually killing the missiles off of the boss, which was really handy. And then just the pattern, simple enough. You can just take possession of one platform. You don't have to rotate around the room. Pay attention to when he's gonna deny you that platform, jump off it, and then jump back. And once you've been there long enough, you know what the pattern are for the spawns, and you just gotta whittle them down.
So there's
a lot of fun.
There's a mechanic in there that I super appreciate. I wish they would do this more often because I voiced my opinion. I hate the fact that beings in this game can just be invincible because they want to, right? That's so aggravating. But what Callus does is he doesn't just go invincible. He gets an overshield that you can deplete. That makes sense, right? That makes way more sense than somebody just being invulnerable for no freaking reason, you know? It's not like, and a lot of bosses, it's not like they go inside a room where you can't shoot them, or there's these machines that point at them that give them an unbreakable shield until you kill these machines. No, they just become invulnerable until you hit them with a ball, right? That is completely stupid in my mind. But this mechanic, it just gives them an overshield. So even though you're not getting his health, you got to take down this overshield. It still makes more sense than somebody just being completely invincible. And I appreciate that, and they should do that more often.
I don't think there's anything stupid about having a field generator that is making him invincible.
No, that makes sense. A field generator makes sense. But them just being invulnerable for no reason doesn't make sense. Like in the raid, where you got to move all the planets, the guy in the middle walking around, he's just invincible, flat out, for no reason.
Because the planets aren't aligned right, so you're breaking his field. It just use the metaphor of a field generator, whatever we're doing to break that mechanic. And so, and I think I'm quoting you, right? Why have just the one? I'd prefer to have all these different kinds of things.
I don't know. I hate things being invulnerable.
I live in the land of war.
It bugs me.
I live in the land of war. But I agree. I really like that mechanic, and it takes a minute to figure that out. You know, you probably shouldn't use your heavy while the shield's up, guys. Just saying.
So
can anybody tell me? I'm sorry.
Well, no, go for it. See what we can tell you.
Can anybody tell me that what is going on with those little items that are popping off the golden fellows that turn into a dome? It doesn't seem to offer them any kind of protection.
It gives them
a snake
resilience.
A snake oil salesman showed up and they were like, "Listen, you take one of these in the battle, you're going to come home safe."
No, it's like a weaker
bullets
version.
Work just as well on them.
It's a weaker version.
In fact, when you blow it up, it does damage,
well, isn't it?
It's like,
well, yeah, there's an explosion.
Yeah. So somebody lied to them. Yeah, I've so the whole Callus thing, like overshield, people kept mentioning that to me, but I wasn't really experiencing that. Maybe because I was doing nothing but sending bullets toward Callus. They were like, "He's immune." I'm like, "My bullets are doing damage. I don't know what you guys are seeing."
Yeah, because people are used to that white thing under the bar being an invincible phase, right? And we're just like, again, experience. We're hard grained because I thought it was an invincible time too until I saw my guy with my blinding grenade deleting the shield in 3 shots, and I thought it was a bug with the blinding grenades, and then I started shooting him with the grenade on my silver auto rifle, Quicksilver, and that was deleting his shield. I'm like, oh,
you can say
Titan. It's just an overshield.
You can
right?
You were shooting him with your Titan.
Yeah, I haven't. I have verifiable proof I haven't touched my Titan this season. All right, get out of here.
On that sign in.
Quicksilver Storm is just stupidly good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Do you miss your Titan after you had to play him all last season for losing
No,
a bet?
I feel no closer to my Titan than I did before. Honestly.
Funny you should mention that. We did talk about this. It's been a couple of seasons, and we do have a new Guardian Games coming up in May.
No. Did you see what Astacross just did? No, sir.
I did mention to Respawn, maybe we should do another bet, but he doesn't seem to be up for it this time, unless he's got more of a winning hand.
Astacross didn't learn from my example either. He made a bet that Titans were going to be the strongest super in the game, and he lost, and he now has to main a hunter for the rest of the season. It's like, you should have known, bro. Don't bet. Stop making bets.
That's why he's been putting out those testing videos on the supers. Okay.
Yeah. And in the last one, he tried to cheese it so bad because the supers outright, the hunter was doing like an extra 200,000 damage. And it's like, wait a second. Let me put on a 1-2 punch shotgun and try it again. And when he used a 1-2 punch shotgun in conjunction with his super, in conjunction with another thing, yeah, that gets over 1 million, right? Hunter only had like 800 something thousand. And when he adds all these things up, technically he can get more than a hunter. but it's not just the super and the exotic. It's a super and the exotic and a shotgun with 1-2 punch and another mechanic, and he had to do all this stuff. And his chat was so upset with him. They're like, "You're cheating!" It's like, so he admitted, "Look, all right, I lost."
I'm
so
build
whatever.
crafting.
And he's all trying to justify it. But what if this is the new meta? What if you swing it? That's right, he had to swing in. What if you swing in with the thread, right? And then you shotgun him, and then you pop a super. That could be the new meta. You don't know. And I was just like, seriously, dude.
Entirely.
Am I the only person who hurdles himself off of the edge with the Hunter Super?
Oh, the Hunter Super, I couldn't. I've hurled myself off the edge both as a Warlock and a Titan a number of times. Going, I'm going to swoop in with my multiple melees, and there's a hole there.
No, my brother keeps eating himself off the map with your standard, not enhanced punch. What do you call it? When you just have a charged punch, just your normal charged punch, right?
Yeah,
he keeps. I haven't seen him do it, but apparently, like when you punch, it jerks you forward, right?
Oh yeah.
Significantly. Okay. So he's knocked himself off of so many ledges doing that. He hates the new Titan punch on Strand. He actively 100% hates it. And you can tell when he does it because you just hear him yell in the background. I'm like, "Did you knock yourself off the edge?" He goes, "I hate this punch."
I have legitimately gone like from too far on one side of a platform to too far on the other side of the platform with one melee trying to correct it.
Does it go that far? Really?
I mean, it was a small platform. It was one of the like things on the Defiant Battlegrounds. Like it was a small platform.
Oh, okay.
Like 6 or 8 meters. Like it wasn't like a whole big long thing. But yeah, no, like it goes fairly far, and you've got up to 3 of these things, which I also am never used to. I'm not used to being able to do it twice. So I'm thinking, let me go this way. Let me overcorrect back a little bit. No, you're overcorrecting the same amount you overcorrected the first time.
And now
you've swerved off into the ditch, flipped your car, and now you're being eaten by alligators.
So your punch is more of a hazard than helpful.
Well, it's more of a hazard to the other team, thankfully, to the combatants. It's also a hazard to me, but really that's just being a Titan. Is when you have to run up to something and punch in the raid,
face. Ryan,
you're already a hazard.
So many times with that punch, we wasted so many res tokens because that punch sent him over the edge. I'm just like, stop using the damn thing, dude.
Oh yeah,
put on a glaive, something. Just stop using the punch, man.
Yeah, no, it'll absolutely send you flying. It does a ton of damage, but it is high risk, high reward.
And something that's broken in the game, which really made me mad, is so remember how they talk about how all these like radiant weapons do this and that and the other, right? Well, whenever I get the void bullets, right, that's supposed to give you armor piercing, but it's so inconsistent. I was trying to solo. I soloed the not the dungeons. What are they called? Lost sectors, legendary lost sector, right? And I was dodging to go invis because with the Grafalcons, when you come out of invisibility, you have volatile rounds, right? And I had volatile rounds. It was showing me volatile rounds, but 1 out of every 10 times I got volatile rounds wouldn't actually give me armor piercing rounds. I'm just like, this is so inconsistently broken, So
that's different things.
And what's supposed to give you the armor piercing?
Well, for a hunter, volatile rounds gives me armor piercing, or at least it was, right? Every now and again. And I think Radiance gives you armor piercing. They all do different things. Like when you highlight over, hold on, let me see if I can tell you right now. Okay, here we go. Radiant gives you anti-barrier. Volatile rounds gives you anti-barrier. Unraveling weapon rounds give you anti-barrier. And any gear with pierce traits give you anti-barrier, right? So again, volatile rounds was supposed to be giving me anti-barrier, but it only gave it to me 1 out of every 10 times I would dodge. It's very inconsistent, and Bungie needs to fix. I mean, they need to fix a bunch of stuff, right? But this is one of the things they need to fix because it's a mechanic you put in the game to help with barrier champions, and it doesn't work. So I mean, it's kind of a big deal for me. Anyway, I don't know about you guys. Void Titans, maybe. Something. Top.
I just like to see how long you'll go until you give up.
Yeah.
Totally unfamiliar.
I can tell you something that Bungie does not give up on. That is
Mhm.
hotfixes. We have hotfix 7.0.0.3.
Oh, they give up on them all the time.
No, they don't.
No, they
That's why we
wouldn't.
keep having them.
So your
They would-
gameplay and investment, they fixed that. They fixed an issue where the Silk Strider super light attack was doing hidden double damage. Although,
Yes.
what, why fix things like that? We love things like
Because they made it better, kind of.
Because they removed the critical strike at the tip of the dart instead of granted the critical strike behavior to the length of the dart, and the damage has been
Oh.
tuned to compensate. Apparently,
Yep.
I want all my damage on the tip.
No. Previous to this fix, the same damage that Acid Cross
that's it.
did, hunters were doing just over 600,000, right? So by making this change, even though we don't
just
get the hidden double
the tip.
damage, we because now every hit is a crit, we're doing over 800, almost 900,000 damage now. So I'm just like, they buffed it really well. I like it.
There's a joke I really want to make here, but this is a family show, so instead
Yep.
I'm going to say they fixed an
Let's
issue where
take
the
a pass.
Archrider's disorienting blow melee was not costing energy on hit, and now it is again, like it should be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There
If
are
you
ways
were
to get
stuck
that
on,
back.
yeah, if you were stuck on the Hypernet current strike, you shouldn't be anymore, because before you had to do the campaign version of the strike to progress the Lightfall campaign. Now just do it anyway. Just however you get it done, then you're good.
And if
Do it
you've been
anyway.
giving out
What do you mean?
commendations willy-nilly, they fixed an issue with that commendation screen crashing, so you can give out more willy-nillys. Or
They still need to
commendations.
fix it, just not loading at all at the end of Gambit matches and half the time during Crucible matches.
That's
'cause
because it
just
doesn't
sits
matter in
Yeah.
Gambit. We've
spins.
gone over this.
Or
Gambit does not
Crucible.
matter.
Or Crucible,
And-
apparently. It just sits there and spins the entire time and says, you could give these out,
Yep.
but not if your screen doesn't load.
Sometimes you can give it out without seeing any information about who they are. If you click on the side where their character would be, it brings the cards up.
Oh, nice.
So you just
Or-
talk about willy-nilly.
Yeah, I really enjoy that entire system where it's like, give 2 of these out. You've got 4 teammates, but no, you get 2 cards to give out, and you got about 3 seconds to choose who you give them to. So it really leads to a
Yeah.
lot of deep,
Quick.
thoughtful, handing these out of who was the most joyful ally
yeah.
on my team.
Yeah.
Who was the
It's
joy bringer, really?
terrible.
Oh, that guy over there. Here,
Terrible
let's do this.
execution.
Well,
The 3 of you.
And it completes my love of Gambit is completed when they give you have 3 teammates and you give out 2 cards. Like somebody's getting shafted.
Screw you. You're cool. You're cool.
but it's good for like nightfalls and things, as we found this week. We were all just giving each other 2 commendations. It was like, yeah, we'll do that and reap the rewards.
Mhm.
You guys, all 3 of you.
Yeah.
When
Nope, just 2
when
of us.
you go to Hawthorne, it's supposed to be every 20 or 200 something combinations you get an engram.
Recommendations that you've given out, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait.
I
There's-
have. This
There's
is what
Hawthorne?
yes.
Speak to the bird, not the lady. It's the bird that gives you
Bird,
the
yeah.
accommodations. Yeah.
Neither
where you're
one of
going
them
wrong.
does it to me, dude. And it doesn't show up on my map. She's just Hawthorne. My brother showed me on his. He shared his screen, and theirs is physically different. It shows you like your progress towards your next engram or whatever. Mine doesn't. I beat the game. I've done all the side quests, and Hawthorne's just like none for you. And I've got like 500 accommodations, so I've met the minimum threshold. But
No,
she's
have you
broken on
given
my
out,
game.
Have you given out 20 this week?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, something that Blue and I found that was really, really bizarre was I was looking for the legendary lost sector to, update my videos for the This Week in Destiny video. And I could see that there was nothing on the Dreaming City this week for the Chamber of Starlight, I believe it was. So Blue said, hang on a second, I can see it on my screen. I will go there. So he flew there. He stood outside. He went, come and join me. So I joined him. He could see the flag, but I couldn't see the flag at all. And at that point, we'd gone through the campaign and done stuff. So I was at kind of, well, why isn't this unlocking? Because I remember the other day, I could see the flag. And now No, I had finished the campaign. But the other day, I could see the flag and I hadn't finished the campaign. I thought, oh, it's been fixed for me now. But it wasn't. And it wasn't until I think he then transferred ownership of the party or the instance to me that the flag suddenly showed up for me. And then it was on the mini map as well. I was like, this is bizarre.
So he hadn't finished it for you. But no, wait.
Weird.
He could see it though.
No, he could see it on his instance and I couldn't see it on my instance.
Fire team leader could see the flag?
Yes, no, but
And
I was
because-
my own fire
because-
team leader to start
No,
off with.
the same thing
and
happened to
I
me and
flew there,
Ryan.
Oh,
and I
interesting.
couldn't find
Okay.
it. And it wasn't until I joined his instance, he could still see it. He could see it on his instance, but I couldn't. But it wasn't until he transferred host to me that it suddenly that this
So-
flag suddenly showed up in front of me. I was like, that is bizarre.
So lost sectors are now like the virus from Crucible a couple years back, where you have to have someone transfer it to you, like
Not even that. Not
lead
even
you to the
that.
flag and say, "Here's the flag. Let me show it to you."
Yeah.
Not even that, because the same thing happened to me and Ryan, except when I gave him party lead, he still couldn't see the flag.
Ah,
And I think that's because he didn't finish the campaign. Because I don't think Dreaming City was around when he was still playing. I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah, I went there. I saw the flag because we were going to do the Legendary Lost Sector so I can show him how to farm for exotics now, right? Because this wasn't a thing when he was around. He
Yeah.
could not see the flag. Even when I gave him party lead, he couldn't see it. I left the party. He couldn't see it.
that is bizarre.
Yeah, I did. I can't remember which lost sector it was this week. I did try to go into one, and while I've completed the campaign, I am not strong enough to go into the lost sector and have a good time with it yet. So I said this is a terrible idea. But yeah, I've noticed I've sort of looked each day to see where they were, and I was like, I'm seeing them and not seeing them, but haven't been paying attention to see which ones I'm seeing, and where they actually were that day. But yeah, I wonder if that's a little bit broken. I mean, it definitely is a little bit broken because you and Blue should be seeing the same lost sectors.
Yeah.
I dare say you've been through them a time or three.
Mm-hmm.
He may have done it a time or two.
And we've also been through the Manticore. It was the Season of the Seraphs past Destiny exotic weapon. It was missing from collections. They have now located it and put it back in the collections. And apparently they fixed an issue with some armor where your element focus armor mods were deactivated while spawning into an activity or respawning after death. So you didn't need those mods, right? Some
Yes.
people were resetting their seasonal artifact and it was saying this costs you glimmer. It should not be costing you glimmer, and they should have now have fixed that. Your scavenger armor mods were incorrectly activating in Crucible game modes. Maybe that's why Yotun was getting 10 brick on pickup. Good times. And players were apparently able to duplicate ammo drops, and now they cannot. So that was the rest of your hotfix.
Hello and welcome to the third week of Season 20, Season of Defiance, starting on March 14th, 2023. So for week 3, let's have a look at our legacy rotation, starting with the Forsaken expansion.
Ready if you are. Let's see what's out there.
The Dreaming City this week is at a medium curse level, which means Pet Revenge can be found in the Devillian Mists, and has the Oracle Engine mission for the next week. The Blind Well features Hive enemies and the Plague Pregar. The Ascendant challenge this week will be the Shattered Ruins, which can be found over in the Spine of Keris on the Dreaming City. Next up, the Shadowkeep expansion. On the Moon, the weekly story mission is a mysterious disturbance. The Trove Guardian is located in the Anchor of Light. The Wandering Nightmare is the Nightmare Resortal in Sorrow's Harbour. And the Nightmare hunts this week will be Tanix, Isolation, Zydron, Servitude, and a Ghoul, Rage. For our Beyond Light expansion, on Europa this week, Phylax the Warrior will be the Empire Hunt, Asterian's Abyss will be the Eclipse Zone, and the Exo Challenge will be Agility. For the 30th anniversary expansion, we have the loot rotation for Dares of Eternity, which will be on week 3's rotation, with the Scatterhorn armor set and the Lightkin armor set being available. The weapons available this week are the Kinetic Rapid Fire Frame Auto Rifle Chroma Rush, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Grenade Launcher Ignition Code, the Void Rapid Fire Frame Pulse Rifle Grid Skipper, the Kinetic Lightweight Frame Sidearm Farewell, the Solar Pinpoint Slug Frame Shotgun Sonja's Tail, the Rapid Fire Frame Machine Gun Shattered Cipher, the Arc Precision Frame Fusion Rifle Main Ingredient, the Kinetic Adaptive Frame Sniper Rifle Long Shadow, the Arc Omolon Adaptive Frame Sidearm Last Dance, the Kinetic Aggressive Frame Shotgun Toil and Trouble, the Solar Rapid Fire Frame Shotgun Wishbringer, and the Void Adaptive Frame Pulse Rifle Last Perdition. For the Witch Queen expansion, the Witch Queen weekly story mission is The Ghosts, where the modifiers are Fire Pit and Raider Shields, as well as Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. The Wellspring activity has been updated to include a featured Throne World weapon, Varus's armor, and a weapon pattern as its rewards. Raids and Dungeons. The Kingsfall Raid Challenge this week is the first encounter, Totems, called The Grass is Always Greener. Players cannot take the same brand type twice in a row. The Vow the Disciple Challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Rulk, called Looping Catalyst. This is where Guardians must not lose the Leeching Force before the damage phase. The Vault of Glass Challenge this week is the second encounter, Oracles, called The Only Oracle for You. Players cannot destroy the same Oracle more than once. The Garden of Salvation Challenge this week is the fourth encounter, Sanctified Mind, called 0 to 100, where you must fully fill each conflux with 30 motes, within 10 seconds of initially banking the first set of motes. The Last Wish Challenge this week is the first encounter, Kali, called Summoning Ritual. Players must activate and cleanse all 9 plates, then kill all 9 knights and ogres before damaging Kali. Your pinnacle raid will be the Deepstone Crypt over on Europa, which means all challenges will be available for each encounter. These are the first encounter, Crypt Security, called Red Rover. This is where all Guardians must be operator and shoot the 2 panels on the lower levels. The second encounter, Atrax 1, called Copies of Copies, where you must not send any Atrax 1 replicant debuffs into the airlock/space. The third encounter, Tanix Part 1, called Of All Trades. Guardians must perform each role at least once, operator, scanner and suppressor. The fourth encounter, Tanix, called The Core 4. Guardians must dunk all 4 cores before each DPS phase. Also, with the Deepstone Crypt being the featured raid, this does mean that you can farm the final boss for a chance at the exotic rocket launcher, Eyes of Tomorrow. And the pinnacle dungeon for this week will be the Duality over on the Derelict Leviathan on the Moon. Next up, challenges. So for week 3 we have the Longest Path. Complete week 3 of the We Stand Unbroken quest for a War Table upgrade and challenge XP+. Bane of the Shadow Legion. Use abilities to defeat 50 combatants in the Defiant Battlegrounds playlist. Defeating combatants with the Strand subclass will grant bonus progress for a War Table upgrade and challenge XP. Defiantly Defeated. Defeat 150 combatants with seasonal Defiance weapons. These are Perpetualist, Prodigal Return, Regent, Caretaker, Racketeur, and Royal Executioner. Bonus progress awarded for combatants defeated in seasonal activities for a War Table upgrade and challenge XP+. EDZ activities. In the EDZ, earn progress by completing bounties, patrols, public events and lost sectors for challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Commendation Appreciation. Earn progress for giving 10 commendations in Vanguard Crucible and Gambit activities for challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Iron Sharpens Iron. Complete Iron Banner matches. Earn bonus progress for wins for challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Primeval Entourage. Defeat 100 taken in Gambit. Earn bonus progress for defeating tougher combatants for challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Ultimate Champion. Defeat 60 champions in any Nightfall strike on hero difficulty or higher. Earn bonus progress at higher difficulties for challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. Mid-range Calibration. Calibrate 200 mid-range weapons, hand cannons, auto rifles, glaives, fusion rifles and machine guns in the EDZ. Bonus progress for rapidly defeating combatants for challenge XP+ and Bright Dust. And one classified challenge. And speaking of Bright Dust, we have our third ever verse of the season for the week of March 14th, 2023. Available this week for Bright Dust we have the Vehement Flock exotic emote for 3250 Bright Dust, the Surging Current exotic Sparrow for 2500 Bright Dust, the Vitreous Entrance legendary transmit effect for 450 Bright Dust, the Seven Sisters legendary shader for 300 Bright Dust, the Oiled Gunmetal legendary shader for 300 Bright Dust, the Stress Ball exotic emote for 3250 Bright Dust, my 10-gallon hat legendary emote for 700 Bright Dust, the IOK Fass Shell exotic Ghost Shell for 2000 Bright Dust, the Motive Force exotic Sparrow for 2500 Bright Dust, the Velocimancer exotic Ship for 2000 Bright Dust, the Knight's Legacy exotic weapon ornament for the exotic sword the Lament for 1250 Bright Dust, and finally the Thumbs Down projection legendary Ghost projection for 1500 Bright Dust.
Hello!
Your daily lost sector will show you a flag outside which will give you details of threats, shields, champions and exotic armor you will find inside. But if you are new to the game or you're using an alternate character and can't find the flag outside, you will have to run through the Lost Sector normally to have it show up on your map as a Legend/Master, which you can either do solo or with a fire team, but you will only be able to earn a chance at the exotic drop when completing solo. Tuesday, March 14th will be the Excavation Site 12 on the EDZ for exotic boots, Solar Threat, Solar and Strand Surges with Arc Elemental Shields, Overcharged Swords with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Wednesday, March 15th will be the Skydock 4 on the EDZ for exotic gauntlets, Solar Threat, Solar and Strand Surges with Void Elemental Shields, Overcharged Shotgun with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Thursday, March 16th will be the Quarry on the EDZ for exotic chests, Void Threat, Solar and Strand Surges with Void and Solar Elemental Shields, Overcharged Grenade Launcher with Barrier and Unstoppable Champions. Friday, March 17th will be the Aphelios Rest on the Dreaming City for exotic helmets, Stasis Threat, Solar and Strand Surges with Void Elemental Shields, Overcharged Shotgun with Unstoppable and Overload Champions. Saturday, March 18th will be the Chamber of Starlight on the Dreaming City for exotic boots, Solar Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void and Solar Elemental Shields, Overcharged Swords with Unstoppable and Overload Champions. Sunday, March 19th will be Perdition on Europa for exotic gauntlets, Arc Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void and Arc Elemental Shields, Overcharged Fusion Rifle with Barrier and Overload Champions. And finally, back round to Monday, March 20th will be Bunker E15 on Europa for exotic chests, Void Threat, Void and Strand Surges with Void Elemental Shields, Overcharged Grenade Launcher with Barrier and Overload Champions.
Lead the way.
Our third featured Nightfall will see us face off against the Taken Hydra, Parthenos, in the Hibernate Current, where you have a chance to get a pinnacle engram if you complete the Nightfall with a score of 200k or more. You'll be able to earn high-end gear for your characters, including the Nightfall featured weapon, exotic gear, enhancement cores, enhancement prisms, and ascendant shards. The higher the Nightfall difficulty, the more common the drop will be, with the featured weapon and exotic gear being uncommon at hero difficulty to being common with ascendant shards in Grandmasters. The Grandmaster Nightfall difficulty will return on April 11th. Your Nightfall modifiers are: hero difficulty, maximum effective level is 1765. Matchmaking is available. Extra shields. Champions foe. You will face either barrier, overload, or unstoppable champions. You can either use intrinsic exotics, use a subclass debuff, or unlock anti-champion mods from the seasonal artifact. 1 elemental threat, 25% increase to that element's incoming damage. An elemental surge that will give you 25% bonus to outgoing damage. Strand surge, 25% bonus to outgoing strand damage. An overcharged weapon, giving 25% bonus to damage. Legend, maximum effective level 1815. No matchmaking. Equipment locked, you will be unable to change equipment once the mission starts. Master, maximum effective level 1820. Champions mob, this difficulty adds more champion enemies. And Chafe, radar is disabled. Your choice of intrinsic anti-champion artifact mods are Anti-Barrier Pulse and Anti-Barrier Sidearm, Unstoppable Scout Rifle, Overload Bow, Overload Submachine Gun and Auto Rifle, and Medieval Champion, where glaives fire projectiles that stun unstoppable champions, swords stun overload champions on consecutive hits. You also have exotic weapons and armor that can help with intrinsic mods as well. For Anti-Barrier, the Kinetic Bow Wish Ender, the Kinetic Linear Fusion Rifle Arbalest, the new Kinetic Pulse Rifle Revision 0, the Solar Energy Hand Cannon Ariana's Vow, the Solar Heavy Sword the Lament, and the Titan Exotic Gauntlets Second Chance, which gain a second charge of your shield throw melee, which becomes shield piercing and stuns barrier champions. For Unstoppable, the Kinetic Fusion Rifle Bastion, the Kinetic Hand Cannon Malfeasance, the Solar Energy Sidearm Devil's Ruin, the Void Heavy Bow Leviathan's Breath, and the Hunter Gauntlets Athras' Embrace, which have a chance to stun an unstoppable champion with their empowered weighted knife. And for Overload, the Void Energy Bow Le Monarch, the Arc Energy Linear Trace Rifle Divinity, the Arc Heavy Machine Gun Thunderlord, and the Warlock Exotic Boots the Secant Filaments, which when you drop an Empowering Rift, any weapon that is fired from inside that well can cause an Overload champion to be stunned. Next up, Lord Shax brings Team Scorch to the featured Crucible playlist for the third week of the season.
Delivered! Lightfall!
Team Scorched is a 6v6 PvP mode where all players wield a Scorch Cannon. Equipped weapons and abilities cannot be used in this game mode. Movement abilities e.g. lift, jump and glide, sprinting and emotes can be used. Players are forced to use a Scorch Cannon that cannot be dropped. These Scorch Cannons have 100 ammo, which is replenished on respawn. Matches have a 7-minute timer, players have a 3-second respawn timer, kills give plus 1 point each, the first team to reach 60 points wins. If the timer runs out before the team reaches 50 points, the team with the largest score wins. The player's current and longest kill streaks are shown at the top of the screen below the score. And unfortunately, we won't be getting the planned Iron Banner next week due to an annoying bug that has been around since the launch of Lightfall, where after playing enough Crucible, Strikes or Gambit, or anything with a commendation screen, all other Guardians and sometimes you can disappear. But don't fret, the fix is scheduled to go live on March 16th, 2 days after the weekly reset. So, Bungie have made the tough decision to delay Iron Banner by a week. But, good news for Trials fans, Bungie will be moving Trials of Osiris up to the next weekend instead, since the issue should be fixed before Friday morning. And with Iron Banner moving to the following week, this means that there will only be a 1-week break between the first Iron Banner, which ends on March 28th, and the second Iron Banner week, which starts on the 4th of April.
That is amazing.
So, as a reminder, Trials of Osiris is a 3v3 PvP high-stakes variant of elimination. Only available from Friday reset until Tuesday weekly reset, Trials gives every player the chance to show off their PvP skills to obtain some of Destiny's most sought-after weapons and armour. Players that compete in Trials of Osiris will have all of their games tracked through a passage card, a ticket purchased from Saint 14 in the lower hangar of the tower. Winning rounds and matches in Trials will grant exclusive weapons, armour, pinnacle gear, masterwork materials, and even adept gear for the most skilled players who can reach the lighthouse with a flawless ticket of 7 games won and no losses. 5 round wins will bag you that match for your passage card. By competing in Trials, you do have a chance to pick up 2 pinnacle engrams from playing each week, one from 50 round wins and the other from winning 7 games. These do not have to be done all in one go, but you do have to complete them before the weekly reset. There will be double XP in the Gambit playlist this week, so if you want to fast track in getting that sweet new ritual weapon, the Ecliptic Distaff Glaive, and Gambit ornament, the Veracent Spindle, then this will be a good start. And that's it for our 3rd week of Season of Defiance.
Guardian down.
So this week at Bungie then,
Raid
unless
day.
you guys want to talk about other stuff. Raid day has been and gone. So they cover the raid in the initial opening of the trial this week. I feel that they maybe needed to have done this last week just to say, you know, this is the stuff that you need for the raid. But hey, I don't work at Bungie, so I don't make the decisions. But this week, we're going to be talking about the world's first race, raid details and rewards, new quests and rewards coming in Season of the Deep, Iron Banner and Trials update, which we kind of alluded to at the beginning of the show, Prime Gaming updates, new player guide again, because Peroty went over that last week and it wasn't even in the TWAB. So who knows what else Peroty's going to come up with this week that's going to be in the TWAB next week.
Who knows?
I know he's going to go over his known issues.
He's psycho. No, the other word. Psychic.
That's the word.
No, you heard it the first time.
I love the way that Bungie have now come up with their own acronym for the raid, RON.
The boss's name is Ron. That's just how it is.
It's not the boss.
We do Ron. We do
Tommy,
Ron.
We are Tommy the Tormentor, Carl the Cabal, and Ron the Raid Boss. That's just how it is.
There you go.
I don't make the rules. It's just you know, I just read it as I see it.
So Ron is coming. Ron has been conquered. Root of Nightmares has gone live on March 10th at 9 AM PST, and it has been conquered by, drumroll please, because I don't know who it was, and Peroty's going to tell me now.
It was the Hard in the Paint team. Ooh, I thought I had a thing open with their names, but I do not. So give me just a minute.
We'll give you a minute.
It was a team that was like, people were like, oh, wasn't Saltagrepo, wasn't Dado, people we'd never heard of before. It was, the Hard in the Paint clan, or team Hard in the Paint with Rowan, Osiris, Puns, Kai, SK, and Grangolf were the first to rip out the Nightmares, root and stem.
Oh, yeah. Good job, guys. Congrats.
And for those of you off, congrats. And those of you off the continent, that's a basketball reference.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was a raid race. We raid raced. Did those of us who are not raid racing watch somebody else raid race and get your either dim italics and or your particle acceleration emblems for watching people on Twitch?
No, I was doing not watching.
See, this is one of those things that I think that they should have told people a week ago, is that get ready to do
Right.
this, because there's
Mm-hmm.
you do have to make some kind of plans to even watch these things as well as kind of participate. So unless you know that this is up on Twitch, because you may be watching somebody on YouTube, and it doesn't count. You have to be watching them on Twitch. So I wish that they'd kind of let people know a week in advance that, you know, you could go and do this, because when it comes to kind of shows like ours or like other Destiny podcasts that kind of come out on the Thursday or the Friday, by the time that some people listen to this at the weekends or the following week, it's kind of been and gone. And I wish that they kind of tell people ahead of time. That's my complaint, Bungie, for today. Just one little one.
Yeah, I'm also a little bit curious because I feel like I saw a tweet from Fallout Plays like middle of the week, basically getting like an invite from Twitch Rivals, this thing where they were doing the emblem giveaways with the raid race, and it's like, did you not tell these guys you were doing it until like the last second either, or is this something they knew about and we're just waiting on info? Or yeah, it just sort of felt like, oh hey, by the way, we're doing this thing. Hope you happen to have been there at the time. I don't know. It was interesting. I did see and I did appreciate when you did go, if you were, again, that had a whole list of people. I think Respawn, when I went to your stream, it did say, hey, you were one of the people included. So by watching you for 2 hours, beat your head against the wall, I could earn my emblems there. So it's just, so sort of just, I don't know if it mattered. Like basically like whatever, like if you open a second stream, it would be like, oh, you're already watching this person's stream to earn this thing. But it was nice when you went to the like Twitch redemption page, it did actually say like what percentage like you were to your emblem. So at least you had some idea, hey, if it was working or not, because that's always been a problem. And I think Bungie helped tweet this morning, hey, if you didn't get your emblems, here's some things you can check and da-da-da. And it was always just sort of an opaque thing of, I'm watching, I've been here for hours, why am I not getting the thing? So at least this Twitch Rivals thing seems to be a better way to do that. There was at least some progress. You could go, okay, I'm at 87% of my time watching for this emblem. And it actually showed up unlike the last one they did, which again, I have sitting there, but still can't claim because it still says link your Bungie account to your Twitch. And I'm like, I did. The other 3 emblems are here. Why is that one not here? Did it fall off a truck somewhere? So, computers, we're getting there.
It's in North Korea.
Yeah.
Yep. It's right next to Respawn's raid jacket.
I had, I didn't tell. Okay. Yesterday, my wife, dude, right? So my wife's like, what are you going to do today? I'm like, today's world's first. She goes, I'm like, hold up. No, come here. We got to talk about this. You steal all of my raid jackets. And then when it comes time for me to do the activity to get the thing you want to steal, you want to give me an attitude? And she goes, wait, today's for the jacket? I'm like, yeah. She goes, oh, you can do it then. I'm like,
yeah. See, you have to use words she'll understand. You don't say, Luna, this is world's first. You have to say, this is I buy you a new jacket day. Yeah. Now you won't see the jacket for the next like 6 to 9 months.
Oh, she knows.
But this is where I earn you the jacket day.
Yeah.
Just call this new jacket day and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I know that now.
When did you start noticing that she was ordering the jackets in her size, not yours? Response.
Well, no. Check it out. The last one I got in my size, right? The same exact size as my first one, but it's 2 sizes too small. I'm like, huh. I looked at the tag just to make sure they didn't send me the wrong size. Nope. It is the correct size. Why doesn't it fit? I put on my other raid jacket. Did I just get too fat? Sizes. Nope. The other one fits perfectly fine.
That's a Brazilian size. So there you go. It's a perfect size. You're all set.
She called ahead and she's like, look, I know it says it's for my husband, but what really happened is, just put this tag on this jacket and then send it. That had to be what happened.
I'm the one who does the rating. He just takes these jackets from me every time and I'm tired of it.
I mean, honestly, it does make sense because it took, 11 months this time for me to get my jacket? So, yeah, it could actually take Bungie that long to sew on a tag. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so just, you gotta get mad at me for doing the thing I need to do.
So important question, though. Have you finished the raid and thus earned another jacket?
We are on the third boss, and after the podcast today, we will be continuing.
So
Good luck,
you will be earning your raid jacket. Yes, good luck
Mm-hmm.
to you and Micah
good luck.
and your brother and whichever other three
And a
brave
bunch
warriors.
of demons neighbors.
Yeah. So as we record, contest mode is still on. As you're listening to this, contest mode will likely be over, and you will no longer need to be at. Well, you'll still need to be at 7080 to be at the cap for all the encounters. The contest mode will be over, so you won't be locked to 20 below, and you can step into the raid and hit your head against a different wall and watch all of the many raid guides that are now out telling you how to do the things. And
It's not as bad as Peroty's making it sound. This raid, the mechanics are surprisingly easy to comprehend. So
I didn't think I was making it sound bad, but I'm just saying, having absolutely no idea what you're doing, someone's got to tell you how, and you need some sort of MS Paint map to tell you how to do it. I really enjoy watching the day one raid races, but also seeing people on Twitter post their version of the scribbled call out map hand thing of what are we calling this? How are we doing this?
Yeah. The only time we needed help is in the third encounter because we didn't know anything about these planets, right? And so one of your brethren calls in their Irish buddy who just did the raid twice. And sure enough, he's like, all right, I'm going to stream this and watch this. And he pulls out the MS Paint. He starts scribbling all these triangles with numbers and whatnot. And I'm just like, those are pictures. Yep. I can recognize those as pictures. I have no idea what he's talking about, but yes, MS Paint is a must-have in the raid. So if you're skilled in MS Paint, you just tell the raid party leader that, and you're guaranteed a spot.
Yeah, there you
What
go.
about Photoshop?
No, MS Paint's better.
Too much time, too pretty. Needs to look like it was scrawled on a napkin in a diner at 3 a.m. covered in
After a
colors.
drunken bender.
I can now proudly say that I can do that with my hand in a cast. So I win.
Well, there you go.
Again.
Perfect. You're all set.
But new revelations and rewards to come, Respawn. This is what I was telling you at the beginning of the show. So a new year of storytelling kicked off with Lightfall and will continue throughout our seasons between now and the final shape. Well, we're just a week into Season of Defiance and we don't want to share anything of the future narrative details thus far in advance. We feel it's important to give everyone a preview of a particular quest we're bringing to Neomuna in Season of the Deep, as well as its rewards it will provide. Throughout this quest, the players will explore the city to learn about the natures of the Veil through Osiris' research and newly uncovered Ishtar collective data. The brief pursuit will be available to all Lightfall owners and will take place separately from the events of Season of the Deep. As a reward for completing the final steps, the players will gain access to 3 new Strand aspects, 1 per class, to add even more depth and creativity to their builds. And we're excited to reveal their names today. So Titans, Fletchstorm, Hunters, Threaded Spectre, and Warlocks, the Wanderer. Speculate away, guys.
The Wanderer.
So Flechette is a pointed steel projectile with a veined tail for stable flight. So does that mean I get a ranged something?
It sounds like it.
Some strand throwing darts, maybe? Throwing knife?
Or maybe you just hold them in your fist and you punch people.
Yeah, it's just to be like, brass knuckles with strand. That's really, you're right. Why do I even dream? The Wanderer will just give you a small child that wanders through a store for the Warlocks, just knocking things over periodically.
Well, it's probably going to be like their void thing that reaches out and touches you in a bad way. What's that called? The void child of the old gods? It's probably going to be something like that.
It'll just be a big hand that reaches out and taps you on the shoulder.
Something like that. Will you be my daddy? What?
No,
So
the Cloud Striders.
A couple of other YouTubers and streamers and podcasts were saying that they feel that this was stuff that hadn't been finished for Lightfall and has kind of just been put into Season of the Deep and possibly the future seasons, and that's why they're kind of saying it now. Do you think
story for the Veil? Like are we going to understand what the Veil is? Is this the rest of the writing they hadn't got done yet?
Yes. Do you think that that's the case?
The Veil is?
Or do you think they actually did have this planned out? Because if you remember when we had Beyond Light and we were getting the aspects and fragments, and I know that the aspects were the things that we kind of got initially, and then it was the fragments that we were collecting over the seasons. Maybe they've kind of done it differently this season or this DLC.
Which is, if they did do this on purpose, it's a stupid way to do it. You don't know.
Why is it? Why is it a stupid way to do it?
Because
It
you're
keeps
making
people
us get our
engaged and get
class over multiple seasons. No, like you said, hold on. Getting a fragment. A fragment is a little thing that you add onto your subclass, right?
Yeah.
But the whatchamacallit isn't little. It's a big part of your subclass. It determines how many slot you have. It determines what extra abilities you have. It's a big thing for us to wait a whole nother season to get. You know what I mean? That's
But
no, bro.
correct me if
No.
I'm wrong, but with Lightfall, we only had 2 aspects for the stasis, and
We
then
had 3. We had 2 at first. We got a
yeah, but
third later
then
that season.
no, I think we got another one later on because I
No.
don't remember like the warlocks with their bleak watchers with the shooting turret things came a lot later than that first year. I think it was the second year. I think it was Witch Queen that we kind of got it. I could be
definitely
completely wrong,
they-
but I remember that we did get those aspects later on. We got 1 per class, and it was for doing something else, and it wasn't anything to do with Beyond Light.
They
No
added
idea.
something later, yeah. And now I'm trying to look it up and remember, but I feel like they did add. Yeah, Destiny 2 will add 2 more stasis aspects and fragments in year 4. So yeah, they definitely did add things after the fact to stasis,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I didn't like it then either.
and he doesn't like it now.
And you're getting
Yeah,
them soon, though. You're getting them in the next season.
Yeah, I'm wildly curious if this is one of those. There's a lot to stasis. We have to try to, or there's a lot to Strand. We try to balance it and test it and do this. Maybe if we just pull these back, it's less for us to have to test and break, or maybe these weren't quite ready, or they just want to say, let's give you something else in this, middle expansion thing where let's actually, let you play with this, let the sandbox settle down, see how it is, and then bring these out later on. I'm very
Bring the chaos.
No, don't
Bring the
bring the
sandbox.
chaos
Bring the chaos.
because then it all gets turned off because it's broken. I much rather have less that works than more that doesn't work. Because if you give it to me, I mean, you as a hunter should understand this most. Here's your new exotic. You can't use it for half a year because it's super broken. Give me a thing that works and let me use it versus going, here's a new thing. Oh, just kidding, taking it away from you.
Well, one of the things that we really appreciate about what they're doing is maintaining a balance, right? And that is just like there's so many variables. All of these classes, all of these weapons, all of these subclasses, it's just insane. So it's got to take time, right? I mean, this is a brand new. I mean, it is. Would you consider this to be the most powerful subclass right now? Strand?
No, actually, I wouldn't. Only
You wouldn't
because
because you're you.
only because there's no healing in the kit at all. Now, is it offensively good for the most part? Yeah, you can string up a bunch of people so they can't hurt you while you kill them. Sure, yeah, and you can pick up orbs that you make and throw them at other people. Yeah, physically, offensively, it's very strong, but there's no defensive stuff. Yeah, you can get the Strand body armor, which does not protect your head, right? And even then, that depletes a lot easier than an overshield. It feels like, right? It feels like my void overshields protect me a lot better than these Strand ones do, right? And there's no healing in the kit at all.
It's not take a rocket surgeon to string these guys up and then turn them into orbs and then use those orbs to give yourself healing. It's not like a
what part of the orbs
freebie.
give you healing?
So there are 2 things you can put on your legs. One will give you an immediate shot of healing, and one will start you in a regiment of healing. And you put those both on every time you pick up multiple orbs. Then you're healing
On
yourself
your legs?
constantly.
Are you
And
talking
so
about orbs of power? You mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, all the inner, I can't remember, recuperation, innervation,
yeah.
all-
Better
all-
already.
Yeah, there's a number of like you pick up an orb and it does something for you. Yeah, there's healing
Yeah.
and stuff there.
And you can generate tons of orbs with impunity because everybody around you is strung up.
Yep. And
So
throw on your siphon mods and you're just making orbs. Like I said, melee orb, grenade orb. Look in the other direction.
Not in
orb.
the in game. It's really strong. Not in game because in game, even though you're still hitting AOE and you're hitting AOE strong, there's a lot more health these guys have. So you might spend most of your time, even if they're stringed up, focusing on the one guy, right, to kill him. And then by the time he's down, now you got to string everybody else up and focus the next guy because they're Cabal. in the raid are bullet sponges, right? They take a ton of damage before you kill them. So maybe in the normal game, yeah, okay, sure. I agree. You can get a bunch of orbs, right? But in game, unless there's a bunch of low health ads and you melee all of them to get that AoE damage and pick up those orbs, not a lot of orbs, man.
Then you just bring a warlock
I'd
with
like
you
to
from the rift.
introduce you. I'd like to introduce you to Pan and Nitedemon and BlueScreen. We're the guys that haven't been into a raid in a year. So
Okay.
this is
You
the world
wanna
we live in.
change
This is the world we live in. It's working really well. And I just think that, like, did anybody rock Vexcalibur on your raid team? The new
I did for a bit,
wave?
yeah.
I mean, that thing is bonkers.
It is bonkers, especially on a void subclass, especially in the hands of a void hunter. It's nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, we gotta link up and see what my warlock does with it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, and also when I say my warlock, I'm saying the duplicate of Plunder the Booty.
It's understood at this point.
That man is.
Well,
That man is.
Plunder the Booty
I
hasn't made this
subscribe-
build yet, but like with my hunter build, I have constant devour, constant overshield, constant volatile rounds. Yeah, volatile rounds. So I got all those things, all three of those things going all at once. And then if I pick up orbs and whatnot as a bonus, I heal. But just having that overshield with devour constantly up makes you so powerful on a hunter. You know what I'm saying? And what do I have to do to activate it? Dodge. Woo! Right? So it's incredibly good. Right? And people are like, but it hits the same damage as the legendary glaive. And it's like, because you're not thinking about it in the way you should, right? You're thinking about it like the heavy glaive. The heavy glaive does nutty damage. Yes. But the Vexcalibur isn't designed to hit hard. It does hit hard, right? Once you get that overshoot, you get a damage buff, and it hits harder than most other glaives without a damage buff, right? But it also gives you an overshield. It's protecting you. It also gives your teammates overshields. It's protecting them. This is a support glaive that also happens to do not nutty, but at the very least respectable damage. You know? So
my warlock brothers and sisters out there, put on your narcotic grips. Go over to Plunder the Booty's
just cheating
website, and it is insane.
It is
because
insane.
you get your shield, and then you're spreading poison, and then they're tethering themselves in the air. It's bonkers.
Yeah, I came up with that build
So much fun.
not 2 years ago, but at the very least a year ago, because I paired a legendary glaive with the poison submachine gun and those gloves. If you don't know, well, you do know because I've told you before. But when you get kills with the glaive, the poison kills adds around, and by the time you pull out that submachine gun, you've already got a 108 round magazine. You know, the whole kit synergizes with each other. What do you mean not enough? 108 rounds that will continuously reload itself. That is your dream. I'm never reloading, Peroty.
That's not
I'm
enough.
a Mentarian.
I need more.
The glaive
never satisfied.
the glaive satisfies your punchy Titan needs, right? And then when you pull out the submachine gun, it fills your never have to reload needs.
Now, see, stabby is different from punchy though. It's a different need.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, anyway, but yeah, that's very good too. I like that. Do you get Devour? Yeah, if you use your Void subclass, you get Devour. Yeah,
we were the original Devour class, the Warlocks.
Yeah.
The original.
And the good thing about what you're talking about and what I'm talking about is that combo is not limited to any Warlock subclass. You want to rock a Solar Warlock? You can use this build. You want to rock a Void Warlock? You can use this build. You want to do a Stasis Warlock? You can use this build. You know, it is not subclass specific, and it's just as deadly no matter who you use it on.
I don't want to derail the podcast or anything, but what about this? The way that they're doing the mods now and the class item, I love it. Or not the class item, but the seasonal item. It's the artifact. It's great how that applies.
Yeah.
It is so good.
The
Rich.
Not having to check if I have the right anti-champion mods on my arms every time I go in and do an activity is lovely. I can just swap to the weapon and be done. It's glorious.
It's wonderful. And it allows for these synergies like you're talking about, Respawn, where anybody can have Devour. It's kind of cool. Anyways.
Devour?
I like it. Well, I was conflating the item with the different
Yeah. I get what you mean.
words.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm missing the word.
The poison. The poison is what makes it really
fragments.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No matter even in late game activities, that poison just because it's a percentage of health. It's not an amount of health, right? So even in late game activities, it's incredibly strong because it's taking a percentage of these bullet sponges' health, and they melt with this poison build. And the fact that warlocks are the only class that can do it makes me insanely jealous.
So these new aspects that we'll be getting for Strand are planned to be earned, you know, by completing the quest rather than just like having an additional meditation. And the quest will also remain available in Neomona in perpetuality for all Lightfall owners, so you won't miss out on the chance to pick it up even after Year 6 comes and goes. So if you buy it on the cheap in like a couple of years' time, it'll still be there available for you to pick up these extra aspects, which is pretty cool. And then Lightfall owners will also get their hands on a new legendary weapon upon completing the quest. And here is a closer look at some of the concept art. It's a hand cannon. If you like hand cannons,
with a little laser beam.
It looks like the Not Forgotten, or what was the other one?
The big old silencer on it. Luna's Howl.
Luna's Howl, yeah, that's the one.
It's another hand cannon. I can't tell you how excited I am.
I can guess.
No, really, he can't.
No, I really can't. It's just not possible.
And then next we have some Iron Banner date changes. So, hey Guardians,
excitement.
Normally Bungie tell us all about Iron Banner, and I've got the feeling that we're going to be sticking with Iron Banner Fortress, isn't it, that we're on at the moment? I think that's the one with the Cabal drop pods.
When nerfed your bubbles.
Yeah, that one. Because they haven't said that there's a new game mode coming to Iron Banner this season, although they said like way back when that Iron Banner would be getting new game modes, but this, I think we're going to be sticking with Iron Banner Fortress anyway for this season anyway. So normally they tell us about it for the upcoming week, next week, and I'd be getting all excited. You know, we've got another Iron Banner coming up, and we know that we've got 3 in the works this season, and I'm really excited about that. But there's a bug in the system that is making people disappear whilst playing like Gambit or Strikes or even Crucible.
No.
So to combat this, there's going to be a fix on March 16th, 2 days after the start of Iron Banner. But they don't want the premiere Iron Banner to start off 2 days of Invisible Guardians. So they're going to just delay it for a week. And that means a couple
trials instead.
Things. We are going to have invisible. No, we're not going to have invisible trials. Trials of Osiris.
You actually are going to have invisible trials.
No, you're not. Trials of Osiris will be up next weekend instead, since the issue should, in quotation marks, be fixed before Friday morning.
Sorry, what was that? What was that word?
Should.
Okay, one more time.
Should.
Will without a doubt not.
Yes.
So take this with a grain of salt that Trials of Osiris may also be delayed by 2 weeks. Because if they've already pushed back Iron Banner and the issue isn't resolved, we may have Trials pushed back another week. But I'm betting heavily that with the date rotations of the XP doubles that we get, next week is going to be Gambit. We've just had a Crucible one this week that we're currently in. So it's either going to be Vanguard or Trials. Those are the only 2 that are left. And you wouldn't put a Trials double XP weekend the same weekend that you've got Iron Banner. So I'm guessing that it's going to be the first weekend of Trials and a double XP weekend of Trials for the opening weekend, which is quite nice.
Oh, so, sir, they absolutely would do that.
They would, yeah. But this also means that there'll be 1 week break between the first Iron Banner, which ends on the 28th of March, and the second Iron Banner, which starts on the 4th of April. So as a recap, Trials of Osiris will now start on March 17th, previously March 24th, and Iron Banner will now start on March 21st, previously the 14th. And we've got to all stay tuned for more news about Trials of Osiris and Iron Banner in next week's TWAB. There you go.
Sure. If you say so.
I say so because I am the Iron Banner. I don't know, something.
I really want
Champion.
to that
I'm the Iron Banner champion. I champion Iron Banner all the time.
Mm-hmm. It is
But
your
I can tell
iron
you,
burden. It is your iron burden to bear.
it is. I can tell you though, we do have some Prime Gaming Awards. There's an update to them. So some of you may have noticed that our Prime Gaming Awards are outdated, and we're super stoked to share them with you. So there's nothing changed, is there? It's just
yeah, you've had to pick up all of the ones in the past.
oh, okay.
And Amanda Holiday is no longer holding on to any of them for you.
That's
so
because
that's the big
she's
update.
missing.
They go to Rahul now instead of Amanda Holiday. There's your update. Wow.
See, that's what I said to you. Didn't I predicted this, that she would go missing, and she's gone missing at the start of this new season. And I haven't got to the point of finding her yet, if she's findable. So that's why the Prime Gaming Rewards had to be taken away from her and put to Rahul. And he's still got some of the weapons. I'm quite stoked about that. Anyway, this is what you can get for this round. You can get the popcorn eating emote, which is pretty cool. The Barebones SL19 Sparrow. The Andromeda Gleaming Ship. The Defiant Projection, and the Falling Star emblem. Oh, they actually put the emblem in this time. There you go. You get all those wonderful things. So all you have to do is link your Bungie.net account to your Amazon Prime if you do have Amazon Prime. If your parents have Amazon Prime, ask them if they could work it out, or you could work it out for them. And yeah, you get some free stuff in the game, exotic stuff.
And there's a lovely little link if you're going, how do I do any of that? Right below the pretty picture, there's a still not sure how to get set up. Click the link and it will tell you step by step exactly how to do that. And then, since you have Prime Gaming, you should run, not walk, run over to twitch.tv to your favorite streamer. Maybe no one respawns in real life. I'm not going to tell you who. And you should hand them your free Prime Gaming sub that you get every single month. You can just sub somebody for free every single month. So if you're going, listen, I really enjoy watching you, but I really hate seeing the stupid ads. Let me sub to you for the month. Then I can, be a fancy boy and watch your stream and not have to watch the ads. All for free. If you have Amazon Prime, which is not free, but it's free to you.
It's a free perk granted to you by Amazon Prime. There you go.
And something Peroty did tell everybody about last week, but if you missed it, Bungie are going to tell you about it this week. There is a new player guide available on the Bungie.net website. And it's got some useful information for new and returning players. So whether you're a returning player or a brand new one, or even veterans that just want to update themselves on a ton of information, it's a really cool look at the insight into the game. So that's where I've got to go to find out what I'm doing wrong in not understanding where all these quests have come from and what I need to be doing, I think. So we will also link that in our show notes.
And that's where Respawn's brother should go to figure out what in the world are all these things. And it might tell him, maybe.
Yeah.
But Peroty, what's happening with your player support report this week?
Well, just Strand by me, and I got you. Because there were a number of things disabled for the raid. So if you're like, I'm going to walk into the raid, and I'm going to use my Grand Overture exotic machine gun, my Fighting Lion exotic grenade launcher, my Winterbite exotic glaive, my Jotun exotic fusion rifle, or my Hierarchy of Needs exotic bow, no, you aren't.
What's wrong with that?
If you're thinking, I'm going to use the Titan Ramparts, Titan's exotic gauntlets, the Thread of Aspect Strand Fragment, which is also across the entire game currently disabled, or the Empowered Finisher mod, no, you're not. I don't know what's wrong with all these various things, because I honestly have not looked at Twitter this week. I did see something about the Fighting Lion. Someone in our Discord was saying it was doing like nutty amounts of damage or super big explosions or something wild. I don't know what the bow's up to. The bow's up to suspicious bow things. But yeah, those things are all disabled in the raid, and the Thread of Aspect Strand Fragment is disabled across the entire game right now. So it's also doing naughty things. What is Thread of Aspect? One of you who are in the game right now, which is that one? Or I'm sorry, Thread of Ascent.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm looking.
Okay.
Yeah, the Thread of Ascent Strand Fragment. That's the word. I can word good.
Ascent. It is activating your grenade ability, reload your equipped weapon, and grants bonus airborne effectiveness and handling for a short duration.
Adds 10 to mobility.
So they want to slow you down. You're going a little bit too quickly. So, yeah, no more running quickly for you guys. If you're a little confused about the character boost versus the campaign boost, with the release of Lightfall, they also released two separate boosts: the character boost and the campaign boost. and these were confusing, so we're going to try to deconfuse them for you. The Lightfall character boost, that appears when you hit the soft cap, which is 1750 without your artifact, with one character and have not completed Lightfall, the campaign. The boost will provide the selected character a set of high power level gear. The boost does not skip the campaign. Now, if you're looking to say skip the campaign, may I recommend to you the Lightfall campaign skip boost, which, as the name may imply, will in fact allow you to complete the Lightfall campaign and skip it. You can skip the Lightfall campaign for your selected character and unlock Strand for that character. This only includes a set of high-powered gear if your main character has also hit the soft cap. So you could also buy both of those boosts if you want to give Bungie all the money and boost all the things. And
so
now
do
for
they
our
show
favorite...
up at different times? Is that what they're saying? Is that the Lightfall character boost will show up when your first player hits the soft cap, but once you've completed the campaign, the other boost will then show up?
Probably. That's
Okay.
what I'm guessing. My other two characters are both showing a boost, and I don't know what they are.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Because the Hunter's at 1400 and the Warlock's at, like 1760 or something, so I don't really know. But yeah, I think it's basically,
Yeah. I'm hoping if you kind of
have
move
you done this or have you
over
not?
to it, it will say this is the Lightfall character boost or this is the Lightfall campaign skip boost. It will define what kind of boost it is.
Yeah, so before you spend your hard-earned money, make sure you know which boost you're buying and what it'll actually do for you. Now, Nitedemon, this is my favorite time of the year.
Oh.
Because beginning on March 12th, in the United States of Destiny, the daily and weekly reset time will be updated to 10 a.m. PDT, or 1700 UTC,
Yay.
which is UTC -7. So we get to be a little bit closer. And now we have not just the known issues, we have the top known issues. We have looked at all the known issues, we have ranked them, we have ordered them, and we have brought you just the best, bespoke, small batch, top issues of the game this week. So there's more, and Bungie puts right at the top. Here's the known issues list. That's the bigger list. But our top known issues, the best is the Radiant status effect does not buff your Strand weapons. Your volatile round from the Deer Falcon does not give you anti-barrier to void weapons. There you go, Respawn. Doesn't work. Your Mind Spun Invocation Suspend Burst is not stunning the unstoppable champions. They are still stoppable. The veteran players do not receive the correct amount of lore books when they rank up for the first time. Countdown and its variants are not added to the weekly Crucible challenge. Your Reservoir Burst explosions with the subsistence can sometimes fail to activate on kill. Your Adept Trials hand cannon, which I'll just stop reading now. Your Adept Trials hand cannon is getting one less round of the magazine than the non-adept version. See, you gotta get good, scrub. Less bullets, gotta get it done. The grav lift on Neomuna is tied to frame rate, causing players with higher frame rates to die upon landing.
Say that again?
Your graphics now. If you have a good graphics card, you hit the ground harder.
Oh, I see.
So
it's not just that; you also get sniped harder too. Last night at the raid, I was telling everybody to lower your frame rate, and they didn't believe me. And they were getting one shot. And they're like, "Damn it, I'm gonna try this frame rate thing." And they're like, "Oh, it works." I'm like, "I know. I'm just telling you that to troll you."
It's something I wish I had in real life. The mark all is seen button in collections, it's no longer functioning. It's no longer marking all is seen. Your dimensional hippo grenade launcher can have a range masterwork. Your non-Lightfall quests show up under the Lightfall quest category. Hey Bungie, maybe that's why we can't figure out what we're supposed to do, because you're telling us things are wrong. Hunters that die and have Strand reapplied will lose their first Strand aspect. That'll teach you. Your Hunter gauntlets to your Thunderhead.
Hold on, what does that even mean? Legitimately, if they died and they have Strand applied? What?
You lose your first Strand aspect. You don't get it anymore. It's gone. Your Hunter gauntlets, the Thunderhead grips, is also missing an ornament for all armor synthesis. Certain heavy weapon archetypes are not benefiting from equipping a third reserve mod. Players are no longer able to unequip the Unbroken title. So if you're unbroken, you're going to be unbroken forever, because that's broken.
Stay unbroken.
You know that you're broken then.
Yeah, your restoration reverts to a lower timer when reapplying the original source of the buff. The UI behavior on the commendation screen is causing players to unintentionally skip to the end of the season's first unintentionally skip to the end of the season's first mission cinematic, Weapons can mark targets through Titan barricades. Your Grand Overture Catalyst is disorienting enemies on explosive/timed payload. Your Threat of Generation stops functioning on hunters for grenades that aren't grapple after using their super. Your Unpowered Melee can produce fast melee combos in quick succession.
Yep.
Players experience a black screen when previewing armor bundles on the PS5, but you have Discord now, so win some, lose some. Equipping a large amount of decaying armor charge mods to deactivate the timer on tier 4 and 5. Equipping a large amount of decaying armor charge mods starts to deactivate tier 4 and 5 artifact mods from the player. So you had mods and now you don't have mods. If you have a large number of armor charge mods, good times. So you think you're beefy and you're not. Some players on Steam are unable to progress past the class icon loading spinner on launch. Please send us your DX diag on help forum. If you can't get into the game, go look at the help forum and run this tool and they'll try to help you out. And then finally, commendations are grayed out as already given in some activities. And those are our toppest, knownest issues of Lightfall so far.
Let's go!
Ooh, there's so many issues.
And there are videos as well. It's nice to see that Frostbolt has got another emblem of the week for movie of the week. Somebody new.
Yeah. There's some lunchtime comics.
Iron, can fly. Yeah, another person that's a regular YouTuber. There you go. So you too don't have to be a YouTuber to submit to the movies of the week or the art of the week. So, yeah.
The Thrillodrome artwork I really like. Just the Guardian standing around the video arcade machine. Just it gives me all the lovely 80s neon vibes. It's wonderful.
Did you guys do the storyline where you get to do the Mario Kart race on the Sparrows?
No, it's not a storyline. It's something else, and I can't. I heard somebody else talk about it on the Last Word podcast, and I can't remember what it is.
No, I haven't done that yet.
Strike. That's part that you go to during the story.
Yeah, it's just,
you have to do the strike in the story.
No, somebody said it's like Rainbow Road.
Yeah, that was Micah that said that.
I know you said that last week, but somebody else on the other podcast said it's like Rainbow Road with all the boosts and things. I'm like,
yeah,
I have not
with
played.
No barriers.
I have not played that. I've played the thing in the Strike where you kind of sparrow down the thing.
Yeah.
But nothing resembling what I would consider Rainbow Road.
Yeah, I'm not sure those people have played Rainbow Road if they're calling that Rainbow Road.
No, I think there's something else. The Respawn has actually experienced that we haven't experienced. And it's something like one of the time trials or something else that's popped up on Neomuna. And until I get there, I can't officially say that that's it.
Yeah. Are we talking about the room where you have to go through the barrier and then race your way to the end, or is there an additional Mario Kart thing in the game?
There's only one as far as I'm aware, and you're on a track with boosts, and there's a guy, and at the end there's a bomb you have to defuse, otherwise you wipe. So it's a race to get to the bomb to defuse the bomb.
Yeah. Where is this activity? Because I have not played this. I played I played the Strike that you race through the door at the end and just have to get to the end past all the taken blobs and everything. But nothing where I had to defuse something at the end.
No.
See, this is what I'm talking about. There is something completely different that we haven't played yet.
Me and Micah did it. Micah was handling the ads while I was doing the racing. Really? You haven't done that? Interesting.
Where might I find this? Is it on Neomuna? Do you have any idea what this activity
is? Yeah, it's on Neomuna, and it's a lost sector, yeah.
Oh, it's a lost sector.
Or a strike. Okay. A strike. It might be a strike.
Well, I've done the HyperNet current, the only strike on Neomuna as far as I'm aware.
Have you gone into the lost sector, into the arcade, and then sucked into the game? No. When you get sucked into the game, it's something different. Never mind. That's got the big Hydra at the end. Never mind. Different one. But yeah, no, there is. Oh God, I can't remember now. Now you got me second guessing myself. You guys suck.
So maybe somewhere there's. Well, no, that's what we're confused too. Going, if there's a thing I'd like to experience it, but I don't know where it is. So yeah. So there may or may not be a thing in the game where you can Mario Kart race. It's hard to say. Maybe we'll figure it out one day. But that's the end of our lovely TWAB. And while I didn't put a Respawn a roundup for this week, I did happen to notice. We think Bungie thinks the world's first team, and apparently Twitch or Destiny 2 has set a new Twitch record with a peak of 523,610 concurrent viewers watching the world's first race, beating the previous record from May 2017. So
that's a Destiny record, not a Twitch record, right?
It says a Twitch record. It says Destiny has set a new Twitch record for over 500,000 people watching. Not just one person, but everybody streaming the world's first raid race. Over 500,000 people, 523,000 people watching the Root of Nightmare raid race. So there are some people watching the game. I know some screenshots. There was Destiny 2 was sitting above the just chatting category on Twitch for a while, which, was sitting at like 500,000 people. So, there are a couple people interested in the game. So good times.
Yeah.
And then everything else is people talking about the raid. So the raid is out. There's your roundup.
I put a link in the chat. It's called Partition Hard Reset.
There you go.
That's what mission. Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing that they keep saying. I need to do Nemesis Weekly Mission 4 and get a shell code or something.
What it is. That's why you guys ain't done it yet. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing where it's like you need the shell code. I'm like, where do I get a shell code? I'd love to do that if I could get the code to make this happen.
Keep following the quest lines and keep
okay, so that's why
unlock. Yeah, I'm at that point as well.
Yeah.
So something I just wanted to have a quick chat with you guys about these commendations, and I think they briefly talked about it on the Last Word or the Destiny Community Podcast, is that I was all up for these commendations and ranking up my Guardian to show other Guardians that I'm, I've played the game X amount of years and I can do this, do that. What I'm upset about, and this is kind of purely based on the way that Bungie are kind of working it, and they've basically based on the way that they're working it, is that at the end of this season, so in 10 weeks' time, no matter what rank that I reach, I will be reset to rank 6. And that is across the board for everybody. So what is the point of getting commendations to show other Guardians that I am a high-ranking level Guardian?
What's the point of getting a title? Because you can.
I think that so there are people out there that aren't 6 like we are because we've been at the game for a while. So you're going to drop back to 6. And everything past 6 is an indication of your performance in the current content. So 1 to 6 is your experience as a veteran.
Yes.
And then 7 to 12 will be what you've accomplished in the season. I think it's kind of elegant. Really, it doesn't make me mad.
It gives you another bar to fill. It gives you more challenges to do. It gives you another, if you're motivated by, I want to make the numbers go up. I want to make the bar go left to right. It gives you another thing to chase. It gives you something else to go. Here's what I can do. I mean, I'm very much the same way. I'm going, you give me challenges to do, I'll go do those challenges. You give me a thing I can check off on a box that makes me very happy. I can check the box and say, I did the thing.
No, I like that. I do like that. But what I'm saying is that
their stated goal and the reality of it is at odds.
Yeah, because literally everybody that I'm seeing in game can get to 6. Even new light players can eventually get to 6. So it doesn't show you in game that we are veteran players. We've been there throughout the, from day one of even Destiny 1. There's no recognition to say that this character you have taken from Destiny 1 into Destiny 2 is now in this game. You've played it. You've continued with this game. You stuck by us. You are this specific rank, right? So we're a tier above the new lights that can get to 6. There's also no recognition to say that you kind of can keep climbing to a point. And I understand that, certain things maybe need to be reset. So maybe when you got to rank 10 or 11 of continually doing things for your Guardians and making them legend, as Bungie like to say, that, create your own legend, that each season, maybe the season content takes you from 11 to 12, but then after that season, you're then reset. I don't understand that. I think that there should have been some kind of climb to get to show, other Guardians where you are at. There doesn't seem to be any reason for me to progress my Guardian from 6 to whatever I can be now, just to only have it reset, apart from that I'm a YouTuber or I'm a streamer and I play the game continuously. I'm making content. So I'm in this world 24/7, and I've put all these hours into it, and I can get to level like 12, 14, whatever it is, and then at the end of the season I reset, and then it's back again. That's the only thing that I can see that these commendation things are, any relevance to. It's not relevant to actual Guardians as we are, because we could just be 6 forever, and it doesn't mean a damn thing.
Well, if they do this, and I think they will, and that'll aggravate me, is I've unlocked the extra 4 slots for my character for build crafting. If they reset me, do I lose those 4 slots? And if I have builds in those slots, do they get perma deleted?
Yeah, there's something else that they need to answer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's their first crack at something like this. I mean, they're obviously playing with a lot of these systems and going, how do we sort of say this is someone who's played this game for a while versus here's someone who picked it up last week, and just
Right.
how do we show that? How do we give you some idea of, oh, I'm going to walk into a strike with someone who's going to speed run it and blow through it, or have no idea what these mechanics are, or know what they're doing. I mean, it's you've got a game where that's been going on functionally since 2014. We've a lot of us have been here since then, just trying to figure out what does that mean? What feels good to the player who have been here since day one versus, just showing some of that. I almost just wonder, sort of like, what's the point? I mean, other than giving us something else to chase, it's like, does it really matter? I mean, whether it's, I saw you were at 500 rank on your season pass. Okay, you play the game a lot. That doesn't really tell me if you're good at the thing we're doing right now. It'll tell me, higher than normal odds. Oh, you're probably going to race through this strike because you've done it a trillion times, and I can sit back and just watch you speed run it. But it doesn't really tell me what kind of player you are. And again, the commendations, aren't really there either. I appreciate them thinking in that direction, but I think, like everything else, it's going to take some iterations to figure out what works and what's actually useful.
Yeah,
well, they're not good anyway, because like once one guy picks one, you can only pick the other one. So let's say this guy brought me joy, but I don't think that he's a leader, right? Well, if that guy picks the joy one, then either A, I shaft him, or B, I say he's a good leader when he's not. So it's very
not
flawed.
enough time to even evaluate their performance.
Fair.
Right.
The way they've got it set up. That's kind of a problem that's with it now. But I think the two things are all meant to create a way to recognize folks that can be helpful to you.
Instead of having Guardians there, what they need to do is they need to have like the stats, right? How many revives, how many kills, how many orbs, how many
the stats are there if you
damage.
hit the right bumper.
Right, some stats are there.
You can
Some
get there,
stats are there. Correct.
Nobody has time to look at it. You're just barely able to squeeze out.
Well, what I'm saying is, instead of having the Guardians, right, have the stats there, and then have an arrow next to that Guardian's name, and then you can click the arrow, and based on his stats, because now you have info readily available that you don't have to click to, right? Say, okay, this guy, oh wow, he made a lot of orbs, boom, helpful. This guy, oh, I remember him, he res me, boom, whatever, right? So by having all the stats readily available so you can see without having to swap pages, it'll be easier to give somebody a classification without having to go back and forth. And then more time too. So
well, what they could do is what they do with, I believe it's Overwatch, watching my kids play Overwatch, is that you'll have that end screen with the characters, and it'll give that character's top performing thing. So if you've generated the most orbs, it will say generated the most orbs, or revived the most players, or did the most damage. It would just tell you that one stat. So give you a kind of brief overview of that person to say, oh, that was that person, that was that person that
Monster
did that.
Hunter does that too. Everybody does it except Destiny.
But like give me a useful end of game screen. Like, it's nice to see, it's nice to see the Guardian, because sometimes I'm like, oh, you were the one who was all black, or oh, you were the guy wearing the bright blue helmet, as a way to sort of remember people. But yeah, it's like,
okay, sure.
Other than that, it was like, well, I appreciate sort of seeing the people. I think it would be a lot more useful, to have some actual useful information. Half the time I try to switch over, like if I'm playing just like a Crucible match, like hopped into Mayhem, let me just see like who the top 3 players were, and go, let's give you combination. Or conversely, let me see who the bottom 3 players were. Let me give you guys combinations. Just say, who cares? It's, I had fun, you had fun.
You stuck it in there, buddy. Or you stuck it. That doesn't sound right. You stuck with it. There you go.
And the other point that you made with the two different cards, they need more cards. They need more cards to say different things, but you can
They
only
do,
pick
but those are in different
two.
activities, which is
No,
stupid.
but you can only pick two of the cards. So if you don't think that person is a good leader, but they were also more fun, you have a chance to pick that card again, maybe, or a different card to say that they did something else that was useful. So just give more options. But again, it's like you were saying, you can see from that person's number how good they are at certain activities. But if it's the beginning of a new season and everybody's reset to rank 6, then how are you going to be able to know what this person is good at unless they've kind of put 24/7 into that first week and they've gone completely over the top and gone, right, I'm good at this? You're not going to know. And for average players going through the game, or veteran players that have been there since day one, there is no recognition to say, right, you are a tier 7. New lights can get to tier 6 and they can possibly get to like X amount. And then once you've played the game so many years, you are then classed as a veteran so that they can then step up into the next bracket. But there's no kind of recognition or there's no recognition of those players that have been there since day one that can progress and keep those ranks up until a certain point before it
Something we used to say at work. You can have 10 years of experience. You can have 1 year of experience 10 times. So I think the actual just being there is not as measurable a metric as what they're trying to do.
Nitedemon, tell us all the videos we should be watching to figure out how to play this game even better.
Okay. I know I've just had a rant about the commendations, but if you want to farm the commendations, why you should farm commendations, Aztecross has got a video for you and me and everybody on why we should do it and how to do it. So there's a good guide out there that he's only just put out. So go and check that one out. Then we have some raid videos. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't watch them. But Fallout Plays has put a full day one raid guide together. I mean, he does say in the opening, this is the day one raid with contest mode. So you guys, if you try after the contest mode, after the 48 hours, should find it a little bit easier to kind of do it. Because I think they found this one easier than some of the other day one raids. So that gives us hope, us mortal beings that don't do normal raids, that we might have a chance. So Fallout Plays has got his guide on that. From that, we have the Raid Auto Rifle is Perfect from Error, who's done some testing on it. It's called Rufus's Fury. So if you want to have a look at that one's a good one to look at. Did you know there are 39 OPGs, OPG repeaters in Neomuna? I did not. I had no idea what these things were. But thanks to 360 Gaming TV, I know where all 39 locations of these things are on Neomuna to collect a Triumph and stuff. So you too could also find these things and get a Triumph and get a completion on this by watching their video. With the raid dropping, we do have a new raid exotic that Respawn was talking about, which was the shotgun. Now it's called Conditional Finality, and Iro also has another video on the damage testing of that. But Aztecross has a video going over why you would like to get this weapon and does some testing in PvP and PvE, and it is very unique. It's a double-barreled shotgun. One side shoots stasis and the other side shoots solar. So the first shot is always stasis and the second shot is always solar, but it does some very unique things and it works synergistically with your subclass. So if you're rocking solar, it will work with some of the aspects and fragments with that. And if you're rocking stasis, it will work with some of the aspects and fragments with that. So go and check out those two videos. Very interesting. Aztecross's one is called Fire and Ice, by the way. All the action figures for week 2. Now, Kimber Prime didn't put out a video this week, so I've had to go to my second best location, which is Esoteric, has done the video for that. Because this week, I do believe there is a triumph or a challenge to pick up 4 of the action figures. So if you did last week's video and you do this week's video, you should have all 4.
That's how I learned there even were action figures to collect. I saw the weekly challenge to go collect 4 of them.
Yeah.
They're not toys.
No, they're not.
Oh.
Did you know the Irritive Loop fusion rifle is a menace? Because True Vanguard says it is, so it must be.
I guarantee you I didn't.
It's a rapid fire frame.
I had no idea.
Pulse rifle, but it's fantastic. It's one that he was getting burned like by this one player in PvP, and he was like, I've got to look at this and see what this guy has actually kind of got on his fusion rifle, and it's a craftable one for this season. So he's got a good guide on that and what roles that you should be looking out for, and I'll put that in the show notes. Then Cool Guy has got a mod that is definitely legit broken. I can't remember what the name of the mod is, but he goes into detail. It's the one on your artifact. It works with Strand, and it's got a punching symbol in it with like Strand around the outside. And what it is doing is it's working with the necrotic grips on a warlock. And if you shoot those balls that you kind of can create through stasis with a stasis primary or a stasis weapon, it creates an explosion. And he shows you in PvP, this one shot is kind of, there's this ball that he's kind of behind the enemy guardians. He shoots it, it explodes, and then it does a chain reaction, and it killed like 3 guardians. And it was like, I need this, and I need that weapon. I don't know where I'm going to get all of these things from, but I need to go and finish the campaign on my warlock to go and get all of this synergy. So this is definitely something I'm going to be looking at getting. So if you check out Cool Guy's video, you too can find out exactly all the details. Cheese Forever is on top of things this week with his videos, and one that I picked out specifically for the raid, because I know Respawn all kind of struggles with the raids, is kill the immune enemies in the Root of Nightmares. And this is the same kind of trick that has been going around for quite some time with destroying shielded enemies that you can't kind of destroy unless you kind of take down something else in the room. So if you walk right up to them, you can shoot the colony, and the colony robots will kind of damage them inside their immune bubble. So this is the same trick. So Cheese Forever has got a video on that one. So if you want to check that out, plus check out his channel and Plunder the Booty for any of the builds, especially any of the ones that Respawn has mentioned, because that's where he steals all his ideas from, basically. Astrocross put out a really cool video this week on the Osteostraga build for the Warlocks using necrotic grips. Now, the Osteostraga is a weapon of sorrow that works synergistically with the necrotic grips, and amazingly with Strand, and how you can kind of set that up. And there's a really good PvP or PvE build that Astrocross has put out for you this week. And then, as Respawn mentioned and I mentioned, he's been doing the new super testing on how much DPS that they can kind of put out, and that I'll also put in the show notes if you want to check that out. So yeah. Oh, and the final one is the Vexcalibur guide from Time Sausage Gaming. So if you want to check out how to get the Vexcalibur, if you haven't already got the new exotic glaive from the mission, then check out that guide. And I think that's it, apart from saying go and check out Cheese Forever and check out Plunder the Booty for builds. Yeah.
And after you've gone to Plunder the Booty for your builds, D2armorpicker.com has a link at the top that I'm just seeing where it says the beta is almost finished. And when you click the beta, it takes you to the beta version of D2 Armor Picker, which has all of the Strand fragments and aspects in it now. So if you're trying to say, here's what I should put on with mods and weapons and whatnot, but what armor gives me the best numbers, it's there. The beta is available. So you can say, here's my new fancy Strand boots. How can I make my numbers go the highest? And that makes me happy. Because that's phase 2 after going to Plunder the Booty to tell me how to use the mods. Then say, what of this pile of armor that I've been collecting all these years can I use to make it even better? This makes me very happy.
Cool. Is there anybody that you'd like to highlight, Blue, while you're here? Anybody for us to check out? Or anybody that you follow that you find quite useful?
I will repeat that Plunder the Booty is the man. Esoteric is really good about explaining what's going on, but it's really bad because it teaches you that you're not esoteric.
So true.
Yes, you should support their channels. Those are my go-tos. Thank you.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, thank you, Blue, for joining us this week. This has been a lot of fun.
Blue.
Ton of fun for me.
And maybe if you're good, Nitedemon will invite you back in less than 2 years.
Maybe. He's been good this time. He hasn't mentioned any of my triggers, so.
Cutting back on the editing requirements.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can say thank you for all you lovely people who joined us. Thank you for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty and Nitedemon. Your Hunters don't respond to real life. Your Warlock Extraordinaire is BlueScreen42. If you'd like to email the show, you can find us at two titans and a hunter at hotmail.com. 2 tits.
Accurate.
Just 2 tits. You can
2 tits and a hunter.
Listen, the number of times I've wanted to abbreviate like 2T1 something, and because I'm very online, I cannot do it or ever bring myself to do so.
Right.
We are forever Two Titans and a Hunter at hotmail.com. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, really everywhere you can find us, Two Titans and a Hunter. You can find the show wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on YouTube for each new episode, weekly update video, and all the live streams. TwoTitansandAHunter.com. Go there and you can find all the things you'd like to find. Now, if you'd like to join our Otter Dance Troupe, thread us with a good time, or throw more grenades, you too could be like super cool new human, the Drifters Driftwood, and join our Patreon at patreon.com/TTAH, where you can find the Drifters Driftwood, Lord Master Chaos, and PP Pipe, seeking Deacon's approval, or approving it, who really is to say. You can throw more grenades at Carver2782, We Noble, Gold God 1562, Basically Salt, and Zombie Pops, our Otter Dance Troupe. You know, as always, sitting there, dancing their hearts out. Dedicated Wham 64, the Scarlet Cam, Star Vortiger. Star Vortiger, do we ever figure out how to say his name? However it is, we know
Vortiger,
you.
it's French.
Vortiger, excellent. Okay, so Star Vortiger and the T-Rex King, except no substitutes. And Zep Orbit, you can threaten him with a good time. You really can. But he's not going to let you. Thank you for all of you lovely, lovely human beings for supporting us. We appreciate you for all that you do, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. And what I'm going to tell you right now is you should go over to twitch.tv/no-one-responds in real life. If you aren't already there, you could be listening to this show live and listening to us stumble and try to stutter and read through all of these words each and every week. And you can watch Respawn attempt to glaive his way through a raid to earn another jacket for his wife to steal from him. Or if you'd like to keep it more family friendly, you can go to the proper See? Trying to read. If you want to keep it more family friendly, like a proper British gentleman, head over to twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter, and you can find the lovely Brit streaming early in the mornings, sometimes during the week, as the gods allow, getting through content, helping people through things, and generally laughing and having a good time, and coming soon playing all the Iron Banner.
Oh, yes.
So twitch.tv/twotitansandahunter or twitch.tv/no-one-responds in real life. And you can find when all of those lovely human beings stream. And you can find me streaming never, unless I happen to hop into one of their streams. So, you know, I'm like the ghost, I'm like the hunter, hiding in the background, just watching and waiting, seeing how this all pans out.
There you go.
So I think that's it for this week. If you'd like to toss some coffee our way, you can go to ko-fi.com/twotitansandahunter and say, I'd like to see Respawn finish this raid with nothing but a glaive. And right now, Respawn's going to go finish this raid. BlueScreen's going to sit here and swing through the city, and Nighdemon's going to wish that Iron Banner was coming a little bit sooner. So tell the good people goodbye or give them your closing thoughts, and we will see you next week.
Alonso.
Deuces!
Awesome.
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.